Welcome to episode 57 of the Wilderness Podcast, your old school weekly RuneScape podcast. Wow, I really fucked that one up. I'm your host, Dills, and with me as always is Deegan.
Hey, how's it going?
The going's good as usual. How's it going with you?
Not too bad. School's on strike for another week, so...
I was just about to ask you how's school going, but okay, you said it right there.
Yeah,
Nice little vacation.
Yeah, nice month vacation. Nice $500 vacation, pretty much.
It's on the cheaper end, I guess. But you're just staying at home, so...
Yeah, just playing a lot of games. So that being said, haven't actually played that much RuneScape this week. I'm like sitting at grotesque gargoyles. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of off it, I guess, because I haven't really done anything. Like I've been bored for like a month now. You know what I mean? Like you ever get that mood where like you don't know what to do, so you don't end up doing anything.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of like the state I'm in. So I have to like do something this week. I have to go do some weird shit. I don't know.
You got to figure out something to get you back into it, because usually when that happens to me, it's always right after I had just gone hard on the game. You know what I mean? Like I'd spend like 3 or 4 months straight grinding hardcore to get to some goal. I'd either get to that goal or get really close, and then I would just feel really demotivated, and then I would just take a fair break.
My issue is that I'm like, my level of boredom is so high that everything sounds boring. You know what I mean? Like I haven't been doing anything. Like I started, like Blizzard announced vanilla WoW servers, probably be coming in a little bit over a year. And so I looked into that for a day. You know what I mean? Played a vanilla private server for like a couple hours, got bored of that. Actually I played a bunch of the new Call of Duty, but that's just because my buddies are on, so I'm playing with them, right?
Any good? I heard it's very meh.
I mean, I love World War II shit, and been doing pretty well in it, so I like it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But I don't know, like a lot of days, like it's weird. Like I wake up and it's like, ugh, what do I do? And I just kind of like sit around. I've been watching like a bunch of TV and like, yeah, I've just been so bored that I haven't done anything really. Like,
yeah, it sounds like you need to take like a couple days just off the computer. You know what I mean?
A vacation?
Just go and fucking yeah.
No,
I go, fucking try something different.
Yeah, like I don't know. My town's like a college town, so everything is related to like go downtown and go drink at bars and stuff, which I mean is fun to do. But I have like all my friends are gone. I have one buddy.
It's expensive too.
It is expensive. I have one buddy.
I have people I work with who do that like every night, and they're always like out of money by like 3 days after getting paid.
Yeah,
because it can be pricey. You can spend it's easy to spend that like $50 or more every single night just going out drinking.
I mean, the key is to pre-drink, and then for me specifically, catch the last bus home. Catch like 11:30 bus and go home. So I spend no money in transportation, and I spend like $30 out, but. Even then, like, I have one buddy in town, and he's in the same predicament as me, and he's leaving after the semester. He's gone. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they have like Friday Night Magic and shit, so I could try giving that a go, but.
There goes your money right there.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I don't know.
Go to the bar, spend $50, so you can go play Magic and spend hundreds. But
yeah, I think I just like
Magic seems like fun though, to be honest. I've never actually played it, but it's. Just kind of seeing it on the sidelines.
Yeah. I mean, I have
fun.
I have a deck I made already from like a year or two ago. And it's probably a really bad deck, but I don't know. I don't really care. It's just like, I don't know, I gotta pick up like a hobby or something. I don't fucking know. Something to like, get a break from just being in my apartment all the time. Like go out, get some shit done, come back. Cause it's been a month, and in my program, you get your content pretty much on a week by week basis.
Yeah.
So you can't just study the same thing for a month. I mean, I kind of have been doing that. Like I'll sit down and study like a topic for like 3 or 4 hours and like, all right, move on. And then it's got to the point where like all right, is there anything I'm not like anything I'm uncomfortable with? And I'll like, nah, I think I'm okay with all that. You know what I mean? It's not like I 100% know everything, but it's getting to the point now where it's like, I don't know, it's not worth my time, I guess, to look at all my notes. I don't know. It's weird. It's super weird being in this spot. I have no idea. Just might go apply to some jobs or something. There's like one place near my apartment that's hiring, so I've been like looking into that.
Yeah, do it up.
Yeah.
Gotta do a slight little change.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's usually what helped me. I would take like a break off from the computer or something, or like I'd slow down on RuneScape and I'd go out. You know, a couple months ago we started playing Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yep.
And we were all pretty new to it. I think you were the most experienced, but I was DMing, and that's a huge task to take on when you've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. So I had I had a bunch of the books, the beginner books and like the Dungeon Master's Guide. I was just scouring over all the books on the week, and I'd spend hours putting together a little storyline to go through. And
yeah, shit, maybe that's what I should do, because I was building a world and like kind of getting a homebrew campaign going like months ago, and I just stopped eventually. Like I got busy. Maybe I'll just do that. Try and get back.
It's a lot. Like I was having a lot of fun. Like I have this notebook, and we ended up stopped playing because I think we just got busy, and like certain people kept dropping out, and it was just the group got inconsistent, and I was getting kind of annoyed. You know, putting all this work into a campaign, and then each week one of the people couldn't show up, so every week it was like someone different wasn't able to show up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, for fuck's sakes, like let's just.
And sometimes when we could all get ready, it's like we start at 9 or 10 just because people are like, let's just chill for a bit.
Well, the problem was there, like I don't want to get too deep into this, but the problem with that was people would show up and they're like, all right, I'm like, you guys all ready? Yep. Where's your character sheets? I was just gonna do it here.
Yeah.
And it would take hours because I only have one book. It would take hours for people to go through it.
Yeah. It's like 10 o'clock. People are already asleep because adults with jobs, like half asleep. All right, let's play. Sorry, what was that? I wasn't really 100% there.
Yeah. An hour goes by and they're just like, all right, well, I'm all finished for the night. It's like, you fuckers haven't done anything.
Yeah.
You're like 10% into the campaign that I fucking wrote for this week, but
You killed 2 NPCs that were supposed to start your quest. That's all you guys have done.
Oh, the worst is the first night, everyone was like, okay, I think I'm good for the night. Like, we'll pick it up tomorrow. And I'm like, you guys are in the boss room in front of the fucking boss.
Yeah.
You don't quit out right in front of the boss. At least kill the boss first. But then that was a fucking...
We had like a long-ass session for that, didn't we? Our first little boss encounter.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Because we were all learning it too, right? So everyone would do a magic spell, and then it would take like 5 minutes for someone to go read through what it actually did.
So what did your spell do? I don't know. Don't you know? Ugh, get the book.
Yeah.
I mean, my shit was easy, and I knew a lot of the stuff I already had. So I didn't have that issue, thankfully, but I'm also not using like a bunch of weird spells. But anyways, what were you up to this week?
Well, I went on a trip to Montreal. Was there for solid 5 days. That was a lot of fun.
Nice. How are the strippers?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah, fuck, man. Maybe I should get into strip clubs.
Yeah,
get new
your hobby.
Yeah,
that's a cheap one to get into as well.
Yeah.
No strippers, but yeah, it was a good time. It was a good break because I was going hard on RuneScape myself, so I didn't play it at all really for that week. But yeah, it was good. Some of the cool things that I guess. Sorry, what?
I was gonna say, did you try any poutine?
Oh, of course. Everywhere I went, I was like, I'll get the poutine on the side as well.
Quebec Poutine is like the best.
Oh, it's good. There was a restaurant we went to that was like specialized in the poutine.
Nice.
So it had like 10 different types that you would get.
Yeah.
And it was
unpasteurized cheese curds
good.
And shit, which you can't get anywhere else legally, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know where I read that. I read that somewhere where like it's illegal to have unpasteurized cheese curds and poutine. I don't fucking know where I read that. Maybe it was like a Tumblr post, and I'm just like spewing bullshit right now. But that's like one of the reasons why Quebec has really good poutines. Cause
that's one thing that pisses me off. Like when I'm in Ontario, sometimes I'd order like a poutine. They're like, "Here you go," and it's like shredded cheddar cheese, and I'm like, I mean, this will do, I guess, but you're kind of It's kind of a disservice to call it poutine.
I went to like a poutineery that was in my town and it closed up. Like, I want to actually, like, I was on a date. We went laser tagging. This is like last year, 2 years ago maybe. And, we like went there and they gave like my poutine had shredded cheese and I was like, oh God. I don't want to sound like a brat and just like toss it out or ask for another one. So I just like sucked it up and ate it. It was fucking nasty.
It's still good. It's just, when you have it with cheese curds on it, you're like, oh, this is, I want to say it's a lot different. It's still kind of similar, but it is different. It's good though. It makes it.
Except when the curds are cold in the middle. That's even worse.
Yeah, that's true. They have a hard time melting, right? But yes, lots of poutine.
Yeah, what else did you do?
I did a lot of touristy things. Checked out, like, there's like an old part of the city where it's like cobblestone roads and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty badass. It was pretty cool. We saw some pretty old cathedral. Checked out the old port and stuff like that. A lot of little touristy things, but a lot of fun. But some of the cool things that I guess I'll mention here is I went to 2 different bars. Well, I went to more than that, but I went to 2 different bars that were pretty fucking cool. I really enjoyed it. One of them was called Arcade Montreal, and it was like, you know, you go in, you get a beer, and it had just all of the retro arcade machines,
like Street Fighter 2 and stuff, Street Fighter 3.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I think so. If those are the ones, like the old school ones,
yep,
that are on the arcade machines. I don't know what you would actually call those.
Yeah, arcade machines.
Whatever. Yeah, sure. You know, Pac-Man, that Mario and Donkey Kong with the barrels you got to hop over and all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, Space Invaders. It's pretty badass. They had a shit ton of the arcade machines.
Did they have snow climbers? I think it's called snow climbers.
I don't know. I didn't check out every single machine because it gets busy and shit, right? It's only one person per machine for the most part. Mm-hmm. So, like, you can either hover and wait behind someone or, like, whatever. But I would just find an empty machine and jump on there.
Yeah. I don't know why I call it snow climbers. It's ice climbers.
Oh, okay.
God damn it. What am I, 40-year-old man? With those Pokemans and stuff like that.
The Sony game station?
Yeah.
Or, fuck, what our grandparents used to call it
I think they just called it...
Yeah, the Nintendo Game Box or some shit like that.
They called everything a GameCube.
They mixed up all 3 of them. Yeah.
Be playing like my DS. Like, oh, is that a GameCube? Well, sure, let's go with that. But,
yeah, but that place was badass. I got cleared out the high scores in the Donkey Kong game with, like the very first one where you're Mario and having to jump over the barrels. Fucking clear the high scores.
Nice.
And then they had a section where it was just like the NES consoles plugged in and like the Sega Genesis plugged in and all those like the old school gaming consoles and shit. Mm-hmm. So you could sit in some chairs and play like 2-player Mario or something like that. It's pretty cool. The place was awesome.
Nice.
And then right next door to that, they had this bar called Meltdown. And I found out it's like a chain, so it might be in your area as well. There's one in Toronto, which I think would be sweet to check out, but they're apparently all over the world. I don't know how many there are, but it's another kind of gaming bar, but it's called like an esports bar. So imagine you're in a typical sports bar, but instead they're playing like Overwatch on the big screen TVs and shit like that.
Yeah, dead man mode.
That's what I was wondering. Problem is for us, it's during the day, right?
Yeah.
They played at like 1 p.m.
As the bar's opening, pretty much.
Yeah, if even that.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, I'm like, that'd be interesting if they did play like RuneScape things, but the only problem is I have a feeling like there'd be me and you there enjoying it while everyone's like, can you change this to the League of Legends tournament? Like, what the fuck?
We've been watching a guy fucking 3-tick granite for 3 hours, and all he's been doing is bitching about the community.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Then they had a section in that bar where it was like, they had like 10 pretty high-end gaming computers that you could just like sit down and play fucking League of Legends or PUBG or Overwatch and StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool as well. me and my girlfriend jumped on to play some League of Legends. I was thinking maybe I should play some RuneScape. The only problem is I have a feeling if some guy's waiting, because normally what would happen is you'd see someone playing, you kind of queue up behind them, sit at a table behind them, and like watch them, and then once their game was done, they would get off and let you go on.
Yep.
So I just imagine if I'm playing RuneScape, like wood cutting, they're sitting there being like, "All right, buddy, so when's your game done? You know, let me just level up once. Just give me 5 hours to get my next level."
You're using 2 goddamn computers. You're wood cutting on one, and you're training your peer on the other. Bullshit.
Fuck. And then what was pretty cool was like they had a section as well with gaming consoles, but instead of like the old school gaming consoles that the other bar had, this one had like Xbox Ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one section that I know you would love. They had the most I think it was the most recent Street Fighter game.
Yep. Street Fighter.
But they had those joysticks that you could like the one that you have one purchase that you could plug into your computer, but it's some crazy joystick, right?
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of those plugged up, and you could have like a round robin tournament and stuff like that.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I want to check this out. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. I just it's not what I'm used to, right? I'm used to going like the bar and watching the UFC fight or something like that. And this one just seemed like completely different. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I think that was most of my trip there. We did a bunch of other things, but nothing really worth mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm here, and you know I was supposed to be moving into a house after our trip where I had planned on setting up a little recording studio in the basement or something, having my own little section, because before I was just set up in the living room, and like sometimes my girlfriend would be coming down or she'd be watching TV in the other room and it'd get picked up on my microphone and stuff like that. So it's kind of annoying, but you know, what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the house isn't ready. It's getting completely renovated, and yeah, so I'm sitting in an Airbnb basement for another couple weeks.
Nice.
And I should have mentioned this earlier, but if it sounds like really bad quality, or you hear humming in the background, or just noises, yeah, it's because, you know, the furnace room is like attached to my bedroom, and I'm sitting in the middle of a room on TV trays with my computer set up. And yeah, you're probably, you know what I mean? It's just annoying because you got people walking around upstairs, and yeah, so it's not ideal at the moment, but
yeah, it's only temporary.
Yeah, it's a temporary residence, so you know you got to make do, I suppose.
Yeah, pull off a big heist, you got to take a hit. You know,
yeah.
You want a recording studio, a little room, you got to record an Airbnb once or twice.
Yeah, you got to set up in a kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we got back from our trip 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, it was 2 days ago, and you know I booked a couple days off work, so I'm able to play some RuneScape. So I did a little bit of that yesterday. Yeah, I did a little bit of that. You know, I did bandos for the first time with a person from our clan chat.
Nice. How's that?
It was good. You know, he tanked it while I was like DPSing, and I was a complete scrub. So like, I went in with like what I thought would work. You know, I looked at the OSRS wiki and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things that I'm like, shit, I should have brought this, I should have brought that. I forgot my bones to peaches. You know what I mean? Like all these little mistakes. But it's pretty good. We got like maybe 10 kills or 20 kills. I don't even remember, but nothing. No tassets, no chest plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the RNG that you got, but
when I solo bandos, I get 1-2 kills. If I'm lucky, I'll get 3. But then if I duo, I'm getting like 14. If I'm trio, it's stupid how many. Like that one extra person is huge, but and it's nice because if someone's tanking, I just bring full melee void just because I don't have a fighter helmet. I got to get that still. The like penance fighter helmet thingy.
Yeah,
because you need high slash, so I'll bring like a tentacle whip and shit. But yeah, I should jump on bandos. So I have a dragon warhammer, so that's like, you know, pretty nice.
Yeah, we'll have to duo or trio it because that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Like I've said it before, but bossing with even just one other person, it's just, I don't know, it's a lot more fun. Not just because you're getting more kills, but it's just, you know, you're with someone else. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You got a little bit of company. It's not as boring, I suppose, but That was good. Did some of that, but no good loot. Did some Abyssal Sire, and I'm starting to get really good at that. I'm getting like 4 kills a trip now.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing significant there. I'm getting really close to that Sarah God sword. I really want that, but as each like week goes on, I'm sitting there being like, I could easily buy so much gear with this money I have saved up for this sword, and like, I hope it pays off. But it's not like the sword can hit super high or like.
I mean, you can hit like 60s and stuff with it. It's nice, but
yeah, but it's not going to replace my Crystal Halberd for for doing damage with a spec weapon. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing is like it heals,
which
is like it's just a better Guthans. It's just quality of life. It seems like.
And yeah, it's quality of life, gives you prayer too. So you do like over a long period of time, you do save. You could like years, you could break even on it
over years.
Like years.
I'm sure we talked about this way back, and you're like, yeah, you should get that, so that the sooner you get it, the better it'll pay off. And now it's like, yeah, by the year 2024, you'll have made money up with your Sarah God sword.
But you save 10K, right? It's 10K.
Yeah, fair enough.
Food. I mean, you'll never notice it. You'll just kind of realize, like, oh, I can do these tasks without any food now. Sweet.
Yeah, fair enough. So, getting close to that, though.
It's nice getting, like, your first big purchase. It's kind of painful at the same time, watching your money go from, like, a nice green, like, number to just, like, 50K. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, but I'm fucking ready, like... it's just it can be a brutal grind.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that, and then I can start going back and purchasing some smaller items like the torture amulet and shit like that. That's the problem. I don't have any of those. So like same for the Sarah God. So I'm like, dude, I could buy torture amulet. I could buy like full bandos. I could buy like Pegasians or.
Do you have primordials already?
No. That's what I meant. Primordials. So now that I got like 87 defense, I think I'm at. And I can finally aware of that, all that 75 tier gear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's basically it for what I've done on RuneScape.
Nice.
Yeah. Guess so.
Yeah. If you hear random buzzing in the background, I think somebody's drilling. I don't know.
Okay.
It's super weird, man. Like being home all the time for a month now, I noticed like. At like 8 a.m, I hear hammering or like cutting vegetables aggressively. I can't tell what it is because it sounds like it's on the wall.
People that live next door. Did you know that?
Dude, they're really quiet though. Like I'm the shitty neighbor. I'm loud.
Yeah.
I have to like, oh shit, it's 12 at night. I can't be like yelling at a video game with my friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Not out of anger, like out of excitement, but like, it's weird, yeah. Like 9 o'clock, I'll hear like chopping on the. It's like they're cutting. It's like they have their cutting board like nailed to the wall, and they're just throwing a butcher knife at a carrot or something. It's like really loud. Hear
probably
drilling.
Trying to get back at you.
I hear like
they're not even drilling anything. They just have the drill there, and they're like, okay, let's drill every 10 minutes for the rest of the day because this motherfucker needs to learn a lesson.
Quiet down at night. Yeah, I hear people like rearranging their furniture every day.
About it.
Like my upstairs neighbor, I'll just hear like a couch or something just like being pulled across the floor. It's weird.
Yeah, that's the pains. And like, I remember living in a basement apartment. I'm in one now too, so like it brings back memories of just like, you're trying to sleep and someone's just dragging a chair across the table at midnight and it's just screeching on the wood floor and you're like, just pick it up. Come on, please. I'm trying to sleep.
The worst was like during the first week of strike, it'd be like 4 a.m, and I sleep with my balcony door open just because like it's either my apartment's too hot because of my computer and shit.
Yeah.
And like the furnace goes at certain times just because by law there's no thermostat to like regulate the temperature, just fucking goes off. And plus I like my apartment cold. Like, I like having a sweater and pants and shit on. But during like the first week of school being like on strike at like 4 a.m, you hear like a bunch of drunk girls singing "School's Out for Summer." I think it's Alice Cooper, and you're like, "Holy shit!" It's not. You're spending money for teachers not to work. Why are you celebrating at 4 a.m, wasted again?
Yeah,
the same song.
Yeah, the month goes by, and they're just like, Okay, I'm done with this little vacation. I can't drink like this every single night.
Yeah. I mean, they probably still do, but most people do. But, yeah. I think I cut you off there. What were you?
No, I think that was about it.
Okay.
No, yeah, you,
do you have anything else?
I think we should...
RuneScape related?
No, I don't think so. So let's dive right in. What did I miss this week?
Pretty much nothing.
Oh, okay.
So you have your lore segment? Okay,
Oh, fuck, hold on, scrambling.
They changed some stuff on, Wilderness Rejuvenation. They, like, I don't know. I don't really know, like, what specifically to go into, because none of it's passing right now.
Yeah. One thing I did see that they actually went and clarified, which was weird. They never talked about it beforehand. They mentioned, like, there would be a fee that would drop on the ground once you lost the PvP armor, or when you like, if you killed somebody that had PvP armor, it would drop some money.
Yeah.
They didn't say how much money, which I felt was like, that's a little important to mention.
Yeah, it gives you an idea how much it would be worth. And we needed, like, things that drop, right? Like, they said that the Van Braces, which aren't passing, were 1 in 9,000.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are like, that is silly. Like, if it's gonna replace barrel gloves, don't make it obscure. Like, 1 in 9,000 in a PvP mod that you grind. But, yeah.
That's like pet rates. Like, pet drop rates.
Yeah, like, worse than that. You can get 2 Kraken pets, but almost 2 Kraken pets before you get one of the Van Braces. But, they did things like they upped the defense requirement for the PvP armors to, like, 80.
Went to 80. Oh, that's right. Wow. That seems a little minor. I don't know why you would need to update it from 78, because 78 I felt was a fair defense level.
Yeah. I don't know. They just said they like nice looking numbers. And it matters.
Fair enough.
But, so apparently there was, like, I don't know if we talked about this. I just don't remember, but there was a fee to make the PvP armors wearable, which would be part of the gold sync.
Originally there wasn't. And a lot of people, myself including, was that this wasn't going to be a gold sync, and it was just going to generate money that was never originally in the game.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you didn't have a fee for it, you would just kill someone, it would drop money, and it doesn't matter how much money you paid for that armor, because that's not disappearing from the game, it's just merely exchanging hands at the Grand Exchange from the buyer to the seller.
So they added a fee, and then they doubled it, which I don't know what the fee is, and then they made it so the reward you get for killing...
Well, the fee right here, it's 500k for the helmet, 1 mil for the chest, and 800k for the legs.
Okay.
And that's the fee you would have to pay in order to wear it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and then if you kill him, you get 400k for the helmet, 800k for the chest, and 640k for the legs. So there is, like, a minuscule amount of gold being removed from the game, but, you know, people...
I feel like those are fair prices, though, for, like, a PvP armor.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the stats. We did that in length last week, but for, purely how much, like, a fee and, like, how much it's going to cost to wear the armor and how much you'd get from a drop, I feel like that's pretty fair.
Yeah, if you have 80 defense and you're dumping this much money to, like, wear this armor, 'cause it's going to be worth a lot regardless, if it is in the game, like, you should be okay with spending, you know, that much to just be able to equip it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's, like, 2.3 mil to wear it, and then... the killer would get, what is this? Close to 2 mil?
Yeah. 184 mil, or 1.84 mil. Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm off my game. Yeah, so they made, like, a bunch of changes. I don't know if that's gonna affect anything, though, because a lot of people are against the, changes. Or the update, which is fair. I mean, I gave my 2 cents and some.
Yeah. I see a lot of people complaining about the Magic Arena 2. They're complaining that the capes aren't good enough. Like, there's going to be no reason to really get them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one complaint I've seen. Another was the Van Braces, and this complaint was similar to our complaint from before. As well as the drop rate being 1 in 9,000, which is just kind of fucked, but it's weird. And then I've seen people complain about the loot keys.
Yeah, loot keys are really controversial.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't happy at all with with the loot keys coming into the game, which I was surprised to see, to be honest. I didn't think it would be that much of an outrage. I mean, I can understand some of it as well. I can see both sides of it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can see the problems with it, but I can also see the pros that would come with it. Now, we kind of talked last week about you had thought originally that you'd have to buy each loot key scroll individually for each key you would get from a drop.
But it's
I wonder if it worked. Sorry, go on.
It was the way that you were thinking. It's the other way where it's a one-time use, and then you unlock the option to toggle it on and off.
Now, seeing all the outrage though, I almost feel like if you had to use multiple loot key scrolls for every loot key you got, I feel like that. Do you think that would fix some of the issues that the PVMers especially have with the loot keys? Because suddenly, if a lot of people were saying this would remove a lot of bots from the wilderness because you could just kill them at the Green Dragons and get all their loot there.
Yeah.
But then a lot of PVMers were saying like, yeah, but suddenly you're going to have people who are going out of their way to kill clue scroll people because it's not going to be for nothing.
Yeah, like you drop a shark. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you drop a shark, regardless, it's like, okay, I get full black dragon hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from my understanding, the argument is it's good because we can stop the green dragon bots, which realistically, I mean, we have the looting bag, so that kind of works as one loot key, but PKers I don't know anybody that has ever gone like, I'm gonna I just love killing bots so much, I'm just only gonna do that in the wilderness. I mean, back in the day, me and my buddies would do that, but that's because you could trick the bots into sculling on you. And then, we'd get full rune and stuff. Like, that was a long time. Like, that's anecdotal. But generally, like, you would go kill a couple bots and leave. So, like, it's kind of an excuse to, like, killing, PVMers more efficiently. And, like, don't have to bank all the time. And you and your clan can just kill people at Callisto. And then, instead of 3 members banking after you clear a team, it's, okay, let's go to the next world. We already know where these guys are. So... I think with my idea, it would actually be worse because you would never want to waste. Like, let's say the loot key scroll costs like 100k, and you're not going to kill a bot unless it's a lava dragon because he might have 100k plus, but you'd never kill a green dragon bot because you're always going to lose money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean,
I guess it would make it a pointless.
And people have argued that if you're killing Venezuelans and bots and stuff in the wilderness, like. They're just going to leave the wilderness and go do something else, like, that's in a safe area.
Yeah.
Like, it's not getting rid of the problem, it's moving it.
Yeah, that's true.
You would just find more, you'd find range bots at Blue Dragons. You'd find a lot more of those, but,
Heroes Guild would be packed.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know, like, there is a way they can make it work. So, like, it benefits PVMers and PvPers. Like, maybe if they add, like, a sculling mechanic, like, if you're skulled and you have this toggle option, or if the opponent is skulled, and, like, I don't know, like, I'm just throwing out random ideas. Like, they could make it so it benefits both people. Like, it only works on someone who's skulled. Because if you don't want to kill a PVMer because you're looking for PKers, and then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to bank regardless, and what if we can find someone scald? I don't know. I think there's a way they could make it work. They just haven't really sat down and brainstormed about it.
Yeah, it's a hard one because that is a big change to the wilderness. It changes so many dynamics, things that things that I never even realized until I'd see discussions of it on the subreddit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, things like, a big part of deep wildy PKing is having to figure out what loot is worth taking. Is it worth taking all of the person's, equiptables? Mm-hmm. but suddenly you don't have any food to have just in case. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have to make these choices, which I guess it's a dynamic that is kind of important, and when you take that away, it might change it a lot. I don't know, though. It's hard to say. It's very controversial, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in an ideal world, they'll say like, because the issue, you have to please people on both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like, if PVMers are against it, they're gonna vote no, and it's like that's a majority of the community is PVMers.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and what I see from a lot of people is like, from the PvP side of the community, I see like, fuck, you have a bunch of PVMers voting no because they don't want to take away dev time from their content, and they don't care about updates that aren't going to affect them. And then I see from the PVM side of the community is like, I'm not going to vote for an update that's going to make it harder for me to play the game when I'm in the wilderness.
I mean,
make it so I'm at a more of a disadvantage. So it's just like, it's weird that, you know what I mean? It's so weird that there's so opposing kind of, you know what I mean?
I mean, the issue is that people don't, in general, like this is always just everything in life, but generally, like specifically RuneScape, and it's always been an issue, is that people, and I've talked about this before, people don't vote what's good for the game, they vote what's good for them.
Generally,
which, if it's good for the game, it should be good for you too, but it's like, people will always, like, people always vote yes on faster rune crafting experience. There's a big majority that's like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's people that, like, they just want the game to be easier for them. One, like, maybe they just don't like grinding, or they don't have the time, like, whatever the reason is, like, whatever. People, and like, you can like read the comments on Reddit where, like, some people have really stupid reasons why they vote yes and no on things. So then everybody, like, then you apply that for everybody, right? Like, I'd like to be able to vote yes on every poll, and I vote yes on shit that even if I'll never use it, like, as long as it's good for the game, like, I try to, like, take myself out of the equation.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah, because honestly, like, most of us play and quit nonstop, like, consistently.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, like, if you think, like, will I be playing this game as much as I am now 4 years from now? And it's like, no, then why would you vote no against something that's good for the game?
Yeah, exactly. And like, you want the game to be in a good, healthy state, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of these just aren't good for the game, though. That's why I vote no. Like, specifically with, well, I guess the armor, obviously, and the Chaos Altar. Like, I just don't think that's good for the game. And the Vem braces.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't see an issue with it, but, like, that's the thing. I haven't seen any arguments on, like, if this is brought into the game, what problems will it cause? The only problem I can see is no one's going to use it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think...
In which case, I'm like, well, you know, if it doesn't really matter to me if no one uses it. If it's there and it's not game-breaking in one way or another, then...
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see how it could hurt the game.
See, I think the big issue is that the only two places you can really talk about RuneScape is on the official forums and Reddit.
Yeah, and the problem with the official forums is, like, not many people use it at all. I usually go on the official forums just to read about it, and it's just, like, the way it's set up, it's just a lot more unorganized, it seems like.
Yeah, and you have to bump your posts nonstop.
Yeah, or, like, I'll comment on there, and you might not get a response for hours.
Yeah. Days.
And
sometimes you just won't.
And then you got forum moderators that could just lock it because you used offensive language, just because you said, like...
Or it's slightly irrelevant to what the topic... Like, if it's... I don't know. Whatever the topic is, like, if you bring another spectrum of the game, sometimes they'll just block or delete your post because it's post in general or post over here, like... But, and then you go to the subreddit.
And on top of that, there's, like, 1,000 different sub-forums. You go onto the forums, there's RuneScape 3, then there's Old School RuneScape, then there's Old School RuneScape suggestions, then there's news, then there's general, then there's the marketplace, then there's the PK. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many... They try to make it so specific that, like, I'll go on that I'm like, I don't know where to post this.
Yeah. And the issue is, everyone defaults to general. You'll just go, like, every time you go to a forum like that, alright, what's in general? Yeah, but yeah, like, the subreddit's clearly where the community is, and it's just memes. And if you
A lot of
if you posted like a new discussion, like there's people that just downvote you to get their memes in hot. So the Reddit algorithm favors their posts and they get karma and shit. Like I think the issue with Reddit is that you get incentivized, I guess, for having a popular post and a popular opinion.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but like it's the fact there's so many memes and you can't, like, it's so hard to create like a normal discussion about something because everybody is so against the opposite side that like they'll even bullshit their way just to kind of prove their point, I guess. I don't know. So it's kind of hard to like know, like, okay, what do you here? Let's try this. Let's try this. So what do you think? Like, we'll do this quickly and then we'll move on to like the next stuff, even though there's not too much news, but whatever. So with the Chaos Altar, like, why do you think, like, what would be good about it?
If I think it would be good because it's a new way to train your prayer. So you'd have some people who want to train it faster or they don't want to use as much money. It can be a cheaper way of doing it. But on top of that, like, it'll bring PKers that are able to, PK you. So you're kind of sure you might save money, not rune crafting. You might save money prayer training there, but if you get killed, that's a huge money loss. Mm-hmm. So it's like two polar opposites of what could happen, and you really have to be paying attention. You can't just AFK it at someone else like you can at someone's player-owned house.
Yeah. So
I think it would, it'd be bring it, I don't really see too many negatives that would come with that. That's what I think.
Yeah. So it's like that, and like it's still prayer, but it's not straying away from like the streamlined process of go to World 330, find someone.
Yeah.
There's a different method, and the biggest thing is that it gives Iron Men a good training method that's not Port Phasmatis. Because I believe Port Phasmatis is still better prayer experience. I believe so. Because I'm 99% sure Port Phasmatis gives you more prayer than houses with 2 lit thingies.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that, and yeah, obviously there's clear risk and reward, and then I'm kind of against it because you don't need. I find that you just don't need faster prayer experience, and especially like
I guess you think it's just irrelevant,
and it's a headache, right?
No one's asking.
It's not fun content, which I mean you can't make everything fun, but I mean like it's kind of like it's fluff. It's that thing that you go, oh, they added that when they do that. Oh, that's cool. I'm never gonna do that though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
And so like, that's like pretty much two sides of it, right? I don't know if there's any other negatives, if you can think of any.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like it's not gonna be like Winter Todd. Not saying that Winter Todd's a bad update, but it's not gonna be like Winter Todd where like you saw 2% of the RuneScape population with 99 prayer, and then suddenly this update comes out and now you have like 30% of people with 99 prayer. You know what I mean? Like the amount of people who are able to get 99s just jumps up. I don't think that would happen. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you that it does seem kind of random. Like no one's really asking for it. It's already pretty fast to train, but yeah, I don't know.
So then with pros and cons of the Mage Cape, we've already talked about it, so I'll just summarize it quickly. I mean, we need, like, pros is we need a new best in slot, and it sounds like an interesting way they're doing it. Like, I do kind of like the idea. It's still in the wilderness, still staying true to the first one, blah, 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 blah. Cons is it's not that much of an upgrade, and
yeah, no one's gonna risk themselves to get it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. And I heard people just don't like. Some people don't like hot and cold because that's kind of what it is, right? It's an obscure hot and cold way of like finding. So I guess that's a negative, but that's kind of opinionative, I guess. So I wouldn't really count that. And I'm
sure there's other ways of doing that.
Yeah,
that's kind of like an easy way of doing it because we already have the hot and cold method for clues and stuff like that. I feel like they could be a little bit more creative, but that would take dev time, or you know what I mean? I don't know.
And then we do the loot keys where it helps out PKers and it kind of makes it more profitable. It takes out or moves a lot of the profitable botting out, but also kind of dicks over the PVMers. You know, we went through that one, so just summarizing that. Okay, so with Revenant Caves, with like Revenant Caves as a whole, like what do you think would be cons? Initial
thoughts, I think it's okay. I wasn't really playing too much of RuneScape when these were originally added, so like that's the thing. I'm kind of on the polls I'd probably skip because they seem cool. A lot of people want them to come in, so there can't be anything too wrong with that. I kind of say that, but I'm kind of ignorant with it. I don't see any initial issues with it, but I don't. At the same time, I'm like,
yeah, just as like the idea, it seems fine, right?
Seems like a cool idea. Sure,
but
why
like,
not?
Okay, so the pros would be interesting, like kind of grindy risk reward content. Like, we don't really grind monsters in this game for that drop anymore. This is a community. Like, back in...
It's usually what your Slayer task is.
Yeah, unless it's a Slayer task, right? But I mean, like, I remember, like, when we were younger, like, just kids, right? You would kill, like, fire giants for the Rune Scimitar drop and sell it to make money. Like, people would do that with, like, a lot of different mobs. People chose grinding as a way to make money. And... Slayer kind of ruined that because you're always making money off any mob you don't have to grind 600 kills of to get that one drop. And so I do like, and I think it's cool with Revenant Caves, how it would be like you can grind these guys for these specific drops that will make you a lot of money, like with the scrolls and blah, 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 all the items that we've talked about. But yeah, I guess the cons for the pros is that it's neat, new content that's kind of it's kind of grassrootsy, which is ironic because it's kind of RuneScape 3 content, but you know what I mean by that, right? Like,
it's like, in between the 2.5 era.
Like where you get to just not relax, the exact opposite, but you get to grind monsters for those big ticket items if they get included. And the cons are... Here, you want to do the cons?
Well, the cons I have, like the cons, it's like not really a cons. It's more like, it could be. I think it's. I really like the Revenant Caves, but we talked how not a lot of the uniques are passing, and we're gonna probably talk about it a little bit. But the problem with RuneScape is like, or like the polls. When they release something like this, for instance, let's say the PvP armor, it has, do you want a yes or no? They also have a skip, but if you click yes, boom, the armors are in the game. If you click no, it's hard to say if they're gonna change up the armors, change the stats up, you know what I mean? Maybe nerf it a little bit, or if they're just gonna completely scrap the armor, and now, next thing you know, the only uniques that the Revenants are dropping is the teleport scrolls to get to the Revenant Caves. In which case, I'm like, well, no, maybe we shouldn't have the Revenants that are just going to drop notables and drop alchables and drop runes, because I don't really want that necessarily, but what I would love for them is to drop some uniques.
So,
it depends if I'm just going to say, it depends if the devs are going to just scrap the idea of it, or if they're going to tweak it until we're happy with it. Because I like the idea of PvP armor. I think Zuriel's is... I like Zuriel's, to be honest. I think that's a great direction for the most part. It's a minor step up from Aram's, but it's not like it's better than Ancestral. And then the problem is with the ranged, it's not as big of a jump as the melee armor. So I feel like, maybe tweak that a little bit, or, something like that. And then the melee armor, I think, needs a little bit of a rework, in my opinion.
Yeah. So... what do you think would happen if no armors? Let's say no Vambraces, no armors, no loot keys goes in. Do you think that they would just give Revenants like crazy notables and alchables? Do you think that's what they're... Because do you think like... Okay, let me say that again. Do you think, depending if the armors pass or not, do you think that would change what the general loot table is? What the commons and uncommons are?
I think it would have to.
Yeah.
Because if the armors and all the uniques are in the game, that's what people are going to be grinding for when you're killing the Revenants. And that's where you're going to get most of your money from. But if you take all those out, no one's just going to kill the Revenants for, like, the consistent money if it's not tweaked a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless their plans to have great consistent money and big unique drops, which maybe you shouldn't do that, but we don't want another fucking Zulrah.
Yeah.
Right?
Because, yeah, it's weird to think about, like, even with the Lizardman Shamans, right? What if the Dragon Warhammer never passed?
Yeah, that's the thing. I would never do the Lizardman Shamans, because, like, I do them when I get them as a task, and sure, you make a little bit of money from their notables and stuff like that, but it's really not much compared to, like, Gargoyles or Dust Devils. What I'm really there for is that big Dragon Warhammer drop. Sure, it's super rare, but, you never know.
Yeah, if you kill, like, 5,000, and on the 5,000th you get the Dragon Warhammer, like, all the money you made from, like, it takes, like, a lot to actually, like, walk away, like, with a nice profit, considering, if you're using a blowpipe and a cannon, and your food and stuff. So, like, yeah, and it's weird to think that if the Warhammer wasn't in there, the drops would probably be crazy. And so it's a cause and effect, right? So, like, that's the one thing... Yeah.
Because no one would do them if there was no Dragon Warhammer and the drops stayed the same as they are now.
Exactly.
There's way better money out there. They're not good experience. They're not good Slayer experience. And it's a slow as fuck task. And the fight in itself isn't AFK. You gotta kind of be walking around nonstop.
Yeah, quite a bit. So, like, the Revenants kind of really matter on what passes. And, like, I don't know if Jagex... Like, I would... If they changed, like... the PvP armors, I would vote yes, obviously. And if they, like with the Vembraces, like, I think we really do need better range gloves, because we have the Mage, and it's weird that the Barrel Gloves is the best in slot melee, and I don't know if Vembraces should be the thing, or if it should be... like, from the Revenants. Like, my two cons are that, like, you just get, it's just an item you buy, and then you grind a wilderness monster and get them.
Yeah.
Like, I would be more okay with it if it was something like like the Pegasian Crystal, if they just kind of recycled that idea that you attach the Barrel Gloves. I'd be more inclined to say yes, because then it's still, like, worthwhile to do RFD if you just like range, because not everybody likes to melee everything, right?
That's an interesting idea, to attach crystal to your Barrow's gloves.
I know a guy whose first 99 was range, just because he doesn't like meleeing stuff, right?
Yeah.
He likes to safe spot and just kind of do his own thing, or likes cannoning those tasks and make them faster. Like, so, I don't know. I hope that they understand that, like, people are okay with the ideas, just not the execution.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just mentioned, but that's the thing, like, it's hard to say if you're going to vote no for it, if they're just going to completely take out those PvP armors and the Vambraces and be like, okay, we're not going to put those in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're going to, like, all right, so what if they had these stats?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of the issue comes down to their polling system. I think it needs to be reworked. Even, honestly, even if you click something and it just opens up the, like a web client, if it's like you go to you click on, like, the poll and you're like, which is going to take you, it's going to open up your web browser and it brings you to the website, which would allow them to have, like, yes and no and why, and you could just give feedback, like, oh, I would vote yes if this, you know what I mean? I mean, it would take longer. They don't have to look at percentages, but if things vote no, they can see why they vote no. Mm-hmm. And it saves dev time, because they have addressed this. They've, like, really talked about with this PvP armors and stuff. Like, they're already done. Like, they had a dev already make a bunch of this stuff. It's just, like, it's not polished, right? Like, the art stuff, right? It's not mm-hmm. polished. And if it votes yes, the guy will spend a little time making sure they look perfect and then put them in. So it's not really taking time from us, because it's done in their free time. They seem to do this quite a lot, like with quests and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Overall, like, yeah, hopefully it's not scrapped. But at this rate, like, I don't know. I'd like to kind of go more in depth, but none of it's been passing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, going back to the Elder Armor back last February, or whenever they were being pulled, I kind of like that armor, but a lot of people weren't happy with them. They thought it was a little too strong, or whatever it was. So people voted no. And then they just got scrapped. Yeah. And then you got a bunch of random items in the raids, like, like the Dragon Harpoon, the Dragon Short Sword, and, you got a few random items where you're just like, oh, I mean, okay, that seems weird. You just kind of threw that in there, but okay, fine, whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. But
yeah, it's weird that, yeah.
I kind of like the Elder Armor, and I just wish they went back a few times and tweaked it a little bit more.
Yep. Instead of just throwing out the whole idea.
Yeah, which it's hard to say.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's lots of pros and cons. Yeah, do you want to move on? I think we've talked about this enough to make up forever. Spent like hours last episode. We spent like 30 minutes this episode. Do you want to move on?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to emphasize the fact that last episode we kind of shit on the PvP armors, but I do want PvP armor. I just don't want them to be as strong as they are for the most part. I hope they just rework them and
I think we want alternatives, not meta changing updates. Even though we don't PK, but it still affects us. It affects me.
I do a bit of PKing. I don't consider myself a PvPer or a PVMer. I just
do whatever.
I'm a RuneScaper. Yeah, I do it all, right? It's all fun to me.
Yeah. I mean, I get mad at Callisto, so that's pretty much it.
Oh, I do too.
I've bitched enough.
At the same time, when I'm watering the wilderness, I'll go to the Callisto spot and see if anyone's there. You know what I mean? I'll be my own worst enemy. I'll be the person that I hate sometimes.
Yep. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on. So, the King of the Skill has started. It started on the 1st. We talked about that last episode, but did you hear about the bug that happened?
No,
It didn't affect most people because of the timing of the update. But if you were, I saw a lot of posts and people talking about they would be skilling as the update went live, and then they would log on and skill, and then they would all of a sudden get 10 times experience rate. Like some dude was saying he got 100k rune crafting from doing Tears of Guthix.
What?
Yeah, and people were saying that they got they were fishing and they just got a fuck ton of experience out of nowhere while the servers were going down.
No way.
Yeah, for a single tick, pretty much.
Has this been a confirmed bug?
It doesn't seem like it was game changer because I was trying to look more into it and I looked in the forums, but I saw a handful of people talking about it, a real small handful, kind of hey, did you guys get that? Yeah, I got that too. Dude, that's so weird. Oh, it's the King of the Skill. Oh, they fucked up, I guess. Ha, that's funny. And then people were I tried to do it, and I got on after the update 20 minutes after, and it didn't affect me.
Now, has that been confirmed though by Jagex it's themselves?
Dude, I don't even know. It was just what I read on the subreddit. I was scrolling through new when I got up in the morning, on the 1st, and I saw people talking about it, and I thought it was weird. So, I mean, if that happened to you, congrats. But I don't know.
Congrats, and you're banned.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing game-changing. It's 10 times experience from one log being burnt. The whole runecrafting thing...
100k, yeah.
That seems a little I don't really believe that, because that's fucking nuts, and you're doing Tears of Guthix at that time, but... I mean, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. I remember couple weeks back, maybe a month ago, when they released the 16 extra bank slots.
Yep.
If you've done a bank pin and authenticator and all that stuff. I remember going on the subreddit, and it was something I wanted to talk about, but I didn't want to talk about it without knowing if it was real or not. But I saw a few posts being holy shit, there's a bug with the bank, and I just duped a bunch of armor and stuff like that, and someone had 1k dragon chains, let's say.
What the fuck?
That's what I thought, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was looking more into it. I'd see a few posts about it, and then I'd see a few memes about it. Then I went on Twitter, looked for some of the Jagex mods to see if they would say anything about it, and I saw nothing. So I thought maybe people were just kind of fucking around and making up shit.
It could have easily been
so I didn't bring it up.
Some weird, obscure meme that we're unaware of because we're uncultured. Who knows? I thought I'd mention that because of it, I don't know, maybe there's a viewer or a listener that had that happen to them. And they're yeah, happened to me. But it also could be idiots logging on and seeing their total experience come up. That happens
Oh,
to
I've
me.
seen that where it's like,
Whoa,
you get a
I just
70 mil drop.
Yeah, I just got 20 mil experience in what?
How come I didn't level anything?
Yeah. Who knows? But, yeah, it started, they specified some of the winning prizes, I guess.
Okay.
So, the super awesome, mega cool thing to be determined is a limited, for first place total level winner, is a limited edition old school gaming PC from Chill Blast, which is like a UK pre-built company, I believe. They just sell pre-built PCs.
Damn.
I was looking at their reviews, and they have some pretty good reviews. All of them say good customer service, and they're happy they got what they bought, pretty much. I mean, obviously here and there you'll get like, I didn't like my product. You know, you'll get that, obviously. But the general multiple sites and stuff was 4.5s or 4s, right? Out of 5s.
Now,
so
sorry.
It seems like a pretty good company, so, you know, we're trying to get a sponsor by Chill Blast, if you haven't noticed.
Shout out to Chill Blast. Now, I hope that the winner, when they receive their computer, it's got like the most minimal computer specs just to play Old School RuneScape. And when you load it up, there's no other programs on there except for like the Old School RuneScape client that's permanently open. So it's literally a RuneScape machine.
Not even like drivers or anything. It's Windows Vista with Old School, the official Old School client, and like the desktop is like Mod Ash's face or something.
I hope there's not even a desktop. Like it just all instantly has your Old School RuneScape client log like popped up, and there's no way to minimize it.
It's like a library computer or something where you log in with your RuneScape credentials, and you log into RuneScape from like you turn on your PC. And it's just like, it's, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the only thing you can do on there is log into your account.
Yeah.
And play, and you can't minimize the client or anything.
Yeah. And it's not even resizable. It's just a tiny fucking little screen.
So congrats on your new RuneScape machine.
Yeah. Yeah, so along with the first place with the gaming PC, you get a signed and framed old school artwork and a lifetime premier club gold package on an account of your choice.
Cool. Wow. Whoa.
So you get some nice artwork signed by the team, and yeah, free.
You get membership for life.
Yeah, dude.
Now, is that until you die, or could you pass that account along through generations, like to your kids and stuff like that?
Well, it's account sharing, right? So they're gonna have to ban the account.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, second place, you get Icon Series gaming chairs from Noble Chairs. I didn't look at the reviews because we're waiting on that DX Racer sponsorship. Can't talk up Icon, but or Noble Chairs. But yeah, you also get signed and framed old school artwork, and you get a Premier Gold Club package.
So that's
on your account.
A year of membership there.
Yeah, and then third to fifth is you get the artwork and you get a month of gold package, or a year, I guess, the Premier Gold Club on account. Mm-hmm. 6th to 8th is the silver package. 9th and 10th are bronze.
And bronze, I believe, is 1 month? Maybe 3 months.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm not too sure. For skillers, so there's the total level we went over. Skillers, like, specific per skill. You get an old school merch goodie bag, and then you get the signed and framed old school artwork with a lifetime Premier Club package on an account of your choice.
Wow. Whoa, that means there's gonna be like 28 people with a membership forever.
Yep. That'd be pretty cool.
How many ever skills there are.
Yeah, X amount. And then second is a signed and framed old school artwork with a Premier Club on an account of your choice. And then third is the silver package. Fourth and fifth are bronze packages.
Right on.
Yeah, so, I mean, dude, there's gonna be that one guy that, like, he fucked up at the very beginning of King of the Skill and, like, wasted 5 minutes, and then he gets second place in, like, fire making or some shit by, like, 20k experience.
Yeah, I can see that.
Have you, like, been up to date, or have you been like looking into how people are training in King of the Skill, like what their methods are in general?
Very minimally. Like I've seen a friend's videos, and been just I've been browsing the subreddit when I was out in Montreal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen everything. I have seen some complaints about people like saying how a lot of people are using alts in different ways to help benefit their main account.
How so?
Yeah, see that's a good question. I can't remember any specific ways what people were doing. I just remember seeing like,
I mean, the one thing that comes to mind would be thieving. You splash the knights are down, are Dugany. And then, pickpocket them at the bank.
Yeah, so I can't think of any other ones. I've just seen it, and then people were saying like that's something that's going to be really hard to prevent, because even with dead man mode, they try to prevent people from muling and stuff like that. But at the same time, like it seems like it's never going to be able to go away.
Yeah.
Completely, at least. I don't know.
You catch 10 people that are guilty and 9 people that are guilty and 1 that's innocent, and it's not worth it because an innocent person kind of got fucked.
Yeah, it's the do you let like 5 guilty men free to prevent an innocent person going to jail?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I was like looking into it, and I feel with the total, if you're going for total level, you're kind of just questing nonstop.
Yeah.
And yeah, I notice if you're going for total level, it seems like everybody is just cranking out quests nonstop, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Because you'll get some big drops, right? You can get some like 100k experience drops, which is like huge, amazing for lower levels.
Yeah. And I know with a lot of skills too, right? You want to be questing and whatnot for some of them lower levels, like some of the skills like attack and strength and...
Yeah, get those early levels through quests.
Yeah, and I was looking into it, and I was like, man, I would just choose one specific skill that is pretty easy. I don't have to 3-tick or like 2-tick or whatever, like wood cutting or mining. But I was trying to think of like some skills, and the only ones I could really think of would be thieving. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 quests you should do though. And then agility.
Yeah.
Like agility's pretty cut and paste, right? You would just rush to Edgeville, take the R down lever, rush to the gnome stronghold, do a lap pretty much, and then you would home teleport, go from Edgeville, and I'm assuming you do Edgeville until like Faldor or Varrock. I mean, not Edgeville, sorry, Draenor Village. What am I saying? And I was like just trying to think of like agility routes, and I think agility would be pretty straightforward, that like you could kind of just jump on and just don't AFK, and you would get pretty high up in the charts.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about what skills would I do, and I would probably stray away from some of the more traditionally AFK methods, because the people who are going to get the top EXP rates are the ones who are 1-ticking or 3-ticking fishing and wood cutting, and that's something I really don't want to do, so I probably wouldn't be doing that. I was thinking like Herblore, what would you do? You kind of probably have to get your farming up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right about either thieving or agility being the two that are like pretty straightforward. You don't have to, plan some unique route or something. You know what I mean?
And the big thing is with thieving, you would rush to Zaya. You would go to the Koren cake stall because there's no guard. You'd pick like 100 or something cakes. 200 maybe cakes, and then from there you would, depending on the rates and depending how many cakes you would end up with, but you could probably do that until like Knights of Ardown, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And then you get money from that too, which is nice. And then same thing with agility, right? If there's something you need to spend money on, you can do the agility pyramid, do a couple rounds of that and get some easy cash.
Sure.
Which kind of you wouldn't have to do this stronghold. But I feel like those are like 2 of the pretty much most cut and paste. I heard people talking about, and I think a friend mentioned it, and how farming is kind of overpowered.
Sort of, yeah.
What you would do is you would rush thieving. You would like pickpocket the master farmers, get a bunch of seeds, and then you would run to like Faldor or something, right? Like, let's say you start off fresh account, you would pickpocket the man until whatever level for master pickpocketing or master farmer, and then you would run to Draenor Village, pickpocket him for a little bit, and then you would, with the money you got from the man, maybe you'd have to do something else to get more money, but you might be able to buy a rake and a seed dibbler and a spade and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could just log on, like you planned all your shit, you log off immediately, log back on, quickly farm everything and plant it, then log off again.
Yeah.
And you would spend like 30 seconds getting semi-decent farming experience.
But then when you're competing with other people doing farming, suddenly I think you'll have people like, all right, should I be doing this, or would it be better for me to be doing, the patches and then also be doing, the tree patch, running over there, spending some time to run to Falador to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
so I think the main point, maybe that way you would get more experience faster. But like, I think the overpowered thing is, like with me mentioning it, is that if you have 24 hours, and let's say you're logging on the dot, like 4 hours, as soon as like whatever patches you're doing, you log on as soon as they're done to do them. Like, the amount of time you've spent in game would like be an hour or two of like specific farming. Maybe you would do some quests, Garden of Tranquility or something when you could. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It's really weird to think about. I just think King of Skill, it's kind of interesting to like kind of think of, how you would do everything, but I don't know if you want to move on. I'm not doing King of the Skill just cause like, I don't know, kind of sick of it. Like, I'm kind of sick of skilling. I've done it so much. I've just started slaying.
Well, we still got a good 20 days left in the month.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you never know. Maybe I'll get that itch to just do agility courses on my account or something.
Spend 24 hours doing that. Why not?
Yeah. Some other updates. I guess some of these we should mention. So, Superior Slayer mobs should but they should be available if you log back in, if you happen to log out. So I guess, if you disconnected at a bad time and whatever, they were gone.
I wonder if they'll be there for like a set amount of time, or if you could log out for an hour, come back, and they'd still be sitting there for you.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I wonder what the timer is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 2 minutes or something, like the same as like an item being dropped, but
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. They don't really specify. It's a good point. You can now purchase the throwable rock hammers to smash your gargoyles from a distance. The auto smash ability from the Slayer Master will still affect this, so you're all set. The Marble gargoyles have like a new color. They recolored them.
Cool.
Yeah, granite cannonballs will now drop as regular cannonballs on death and PvP. So it was
waiting for that one.
Yeah, right. It was a pretty big oversight. They changed the special attack animation for the granite hammer just to make it more aesthetically appealing and accurate, I guess.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was kind of similar to the Dragon Warhammer before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Halloween event will be in for like 1 more week.
Let's get there and do it.
So I guess this Thursday coming up, actually, now that I think about it.
Okay, yeah. Go get your genie skin color.
Yeah. Yeah, so not too much have actually happened this week. They do have a dev blog on the Fossil Island improvements we can talk about.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. It seemed like they dropped that on us. There's some complaints about it. They did some minor tweaks the first week, and then it was just like, okay, there it is, enjoy it. But it's cool that they're coming out with a little bit of improvements to get more people out there, because there's a lot to do on that island, but not a lot gets done.
And it's kind of weird that they kind of see how unpopular it is. So yeah, they actually mentioned that only 20% of players have built one fossil case.
Okay.
Out of the 3, I believe. So that kind of shows how much people enjoy Fossil Island. Not many people are sticking around.
Yeah.
We mentioned this on the update, but Pete, who's like panning for shit in the water, for fossils in the water, will give you a free set. But if you're an idiot like me and you trade them in for Numulites, because they don't tell you about the cases anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm kind of, I'm in that 80% that happens. But 18% of players who did build the entire camp didn't collect their free fossils. So you might be that 18%. That's a free display case.
I'm that 18%, I believe. I forgot to do that.
Yeah, I'm not, but I'm. It's worse. I'm in a worse position because I fucking traded them in. Because nothing is specified when you get there. But whatever. They want to make it more clear on what you can do in the island and offer some rewards. They want to add like a mini task list within the fossil island, the camp area. So they kind of want to have like an achievement diary for the fossil islands, but it's not an achievement diary.
Yeah, it's like a checklist.
Yeah.
That's something that should be added, I think.
Yeah, it's a poll question. Just should there be a mini task list on the island and pretty much work like an achievement diary, but I think you'd only be able to see what's up at the checkboard list in the camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I just think it's weird that you have to go to RS Wiki sometimes to see like, okay, what could I do on this island? Let's go on a third-party site to see what other people filled out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like in-game that would actually direct you on what you're missing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the next topic is birdhouses. So birdhouses are the most underused content in the game, and it's shit experience. It's really bad experience, even like passively. Like it's not worth your time. And they kind of realized that, and they wanted to use it as like a training method for lower leveled hunters up to level 35. That was kind of like the pitched idea. And then people wanted it to be scaled off of their experience, so it's kind of worthwhile for everyone, but it kind of didn't really work out. So they want to change. They kind of want to make it so it's good flat experience rates for lower levels to kind of circumvent, or if that's the right word, to get around those 4 hours of going from 9 to 21 or whatever.
Oh god.
You want like alternatives.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. But yeah, so they'd like to introduce additional tiers as well, which would scale up to level 90. So there'd be maple, mahogany, yew, magic, and redwood houses.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it would be good for everyone to a certain degree, I guess. More beneficial for lower levels, but still okay.
It won't be the best experience.
Yeah.
The only problem I could kind of see is if it's still kind of competitive rates, then like, now Hunter has kind of a passive way to train it. And there's also Herbivore that's going on the island, which is, I saw a lot of positive feedback about that because you're getting a lot of herbs and you're training your Hunter as well.
And the pet. Pet's really cool looking. And the pet's
pretty badass.
Yeah.
But, if suddenly you have birdhouses going alongside that and suddenly there's no reason to go to salamanders or there's no reason to go to the Monkey Madness 2 area to hunt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because suddenly that's the best way to do it. I don't know. I feel like hopefully it's not too competitive. It's okay if it's decent, I think, but I just don't think it should be the best way of training it is doing the birdhouses and doing Herbivore at the same time.
Yeah, it should no way be that. Like, I don't think it should be good experience. I think it should just be like worthwhile, I guess. Like however much time you're putting into it, you should get out. That's kind of how it should work.
Yeah, you should be able to benefit if you're doing Herbivore. You can do the birdhouses alongside of it, but nothing where it's like, oh, well, everyone should be here doing this because you're be a retard not to.
Mm-hmm. So, they have 2 poll questions for this, though. The first one is, should an additional tier of the birdhouses be added? And then also, when dismantling birdhouses, should the clockwork used to create it be returned? I've never...
Okay, I guess that's an ingredient.
Yeah, I've never made one, so yeah, I'm assuming it's an ingredient that's kind of a bitch to get. I don't really know, though. But yeah, the next topic is the underwater agility and thieving area. So, they see that the new underwater and agility thieving method could provide some of the best experience in the game for agility and thieving total. I guess, like, overall, if you're combining both of them.
Yeah.
And there's been, and so people have enjoyed how engaging it is, but no one's really doing it.
Okay.
So they think it's because there's a lot of fast ways to train thieving.
Yeah, no, definitely.
they don't really want to, like, people don't really care about training thieving and agility. And, like, they kind of want to make it if you want to train both at the same time, you know, but that seems like a niche amount of people, right? Most people would rather just get better experience rates doing 2 separate tasks than getting less with both.
Yeah, like for me, if I want to train, the only time I'm training agility really is when I need there's an obstacle I want to unlock. Like there's a shortcut I want to unlock.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go and train my thieving alongside of that. I'm going to go straight agility to get it as fast as possible.
Yeah, and thieving, yeah, like generally, yeah, if you want to train, yeah, agility, it's to either get graceful or, yeah, get that shortcut that, you know, will affect whatever your next goal is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, thieving, it's like people like will blackjack or do Knights of Our Down or something, or pyramid plunder. Like,
yep.
Yeah, so they kind of like realize that there's already better, like more interesting or better ways to train these things. And, they want to just buff the experience rates. And, yeah, so what they say is rather than gaining training experience, I don't know, I think they fucked that up. So gaining experience in both skills, as you steal the mermaid tears and all that stuff, they'd like to give you a new glistening mermaid tear as an item as extra loot, along with the nominal, holy shit, I can't say words, amount of experience
good.
For having used your skill. So these can be traded to Marin, I think is how you say the name, for experience in either skill. So if you are like, pretty much they want to make it, if you're there and you kind of prefer more agility or thieving, like you kind of get to choose where you get extra experience in.
Cool.
So if you want to get that shortcut unlocked, but you also need a couple levels in thieving for like a quest, maybe, I don't know, you can kind of get that done. But yeah, the tiers would be stackable, and after 6 hours of tier gathering, he'll expect you to hand in your tiers before collecting any more.
Sure. Okay.
And it's so they could not be used in the store on unlimited quantities of experience indefinitely. I don't really know what they mean by that and why that would be an issue.
Maybe they don't want someone spending a week there training it and then at the end of it just turning it a bunch in to get a huge stack.
I guess. Like, does it scale off of experience? I mean, experience off your level?
It sounds like it would.
Okay. Because then that's probably what the issue is. You could just grind to like 90, whatever, and then, or whatever, like.
Oh, yeah.
You could find out the efficient time to hand in with how many you have, and then get the most out of it. So I guess, yeah, so you'd have like a 6-hour time limit. I wonder if you could sit there for like 5.5 hours and then go train the skill and then come back, or do you lose them when you leave? You'd probably lose them when you leave, or you have to turn them in when you leave.
But even still, that seems pretty minimal to go for half an hour to train it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, so that's pulled. That whole thing we kind of just went over. Honestly, I don't think it would change much. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I never really cared for this aspect. It's cool artistically, and the idea is neat, and maybe it's fun, but like, I'm happy with my agility level. I have 76, which like isn't really that high, but I have like the Zalra shortcut.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. That's what I need to get.
Yeah. And I can boost for Cerberus. The Cerberus shortcut.
Okay.
I believe my agility 76 might be higher. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's like I'm fine with it. Like I'd never really want to train agility for. There's nothing I really need it for. And thieving, like I prefer to do Knights of Our Down. I watch a movie and just click a button. I think that's how like the majority of the community feels, but they're gonna slowly try to make it so.
You also want to keep in mind we're at a decently high level.
Yeah. And
when mobile comes out, a lot of new players are gonna start, and this might give them, hey, I might as well just go here and do this because it's more fun or whatever it is. It's better than just spam clicking.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that because if you're like a newer player and you want to train agility and or thieving, it's like, do you want to just click on a knight the whole time or click on these spots on a roof? Or you could do like a little game, fly around, steal some shit, do some shit.
And again, at a lower level, it is kind of beneficial to level them both up at the same time, because it could be tedious to spend, getting level 50 thieving and then starting on agility, or vice versa.
Yeah. But the next thing they want to change with the underwater area is the drift net fishing. So it has some good experience tied to it, but it caps out at level 70. The average would be about 31k fishing experience and 41k hunter experience.
Okay.
And they kind of realized the content isn't worth how annoying it is. It's really fucking annoying, apparently. I've heard a lot of complaints about it.
Okay.
Not a lot, but like people have been vocal about it, just how annoying and tedious it is. So they want to do some quality of life updates. The daily spend is a little annoying to remember for how many players, and while there's a bank fairly nearby, it's still inconvenient to, make it a nuance. You have to go back and bank your fish and fetch more nets and stuff like that. So they'd like to offer a one-off unlock fee so that you no longer have to make daily payments. Additionally, we'd like to offer a handy mermaid in the area to help make the activity more useful. She'll hold onto your drift nets rather like a leprechaun that holds onto your compost and tools.
Okay,
and she'll bank all your fish in exchange for some Numulites.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah. I really do like that. So it's 200 Numulites to access the area for the day. You can give her 20,000 Numulites as a one-off fee. And Numulites, as of right now, are pretty fucking cheap. So if you think you want to do this, and go check out the polls. I actually don't know how these are doing right now.
I don't think they're out yet, because we still have the PvP polls out.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, depending on how the update goes, though, it might be worth it to, if you think you're going to do this, though, just to buy them now. If they don't, I mean, you might take a little hit. If they do, you could always try and flip them. They might have actually even gone up from this post, but who knows, the devblog.
It's still pretty cheap.
Anyways.
One Numalite currently sitting at about 38 GP.
Yeah.
Which it seems like it bounces around from 10 to 38, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming they spiked it to 38 because people read the devblog and are like, buy them now. That's usually what happens. If you look at the devblogs, if they are talking about specific items, you can see that prices change literally that day.
Yeah, it's normally.
And they'll kind of settle down, and then they'll go back up. But yeah. Yeah, so the next poll question is, should a new mermaid be added? I don't know why I said that so weird. Should a new mermaid be added to the drift net area to hold on to your spare net to save some space? And also the last one is, should the collection screen for the fish found in the drift net area allow you to bank your whole catch for a small Numulite cost?
Cool, fair enough.
Yeah, I like that. Especially if it's like a niche way to train your stats. I'm assuming it's niche. I don't really hear too much about people going there, but I'm assuming it is.
They said it caps out at level 70. So I assume at level 70 you'll probably pop over to monkfish or something.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
But I mean,
a lot of us, we're past that point.
Yeah.
So for us, it might not be beneficial. But again, getting to level 70 can be pretty tedious. You know what I mean? It does take a little bit of time, especially for new players. So this just opens up a new way of doing it.
I think a lot of this is you could just fish lobsters, and it's way less of a headache, right?
Yeah.
Fish lobsters to monkfish.
But again, it's slow, and it could be boring. Maybe somebody doesn't want to sit and watch their guy fish lobsters. Because for me, I'm only going to be doing lobsters when I'm playing a game on the side or I'm watching something.
Exactly.
But, there's probably people out there who aren't doing that, and they have just their RuneScape guy going, and they want to do something that's more interactive.
Yep. And yeah, they it's like either be bored or be annoyed. That's kind of what it seems like for like lower level. So they're going to try and make it a little less annoying. So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, the next topic is Sulacept trees. So they recently buffed them to give an additional 40% experience. Solid. And they're happy with that. But the tar monster, the main creature that disrupts your training, their intention was to provide a minor inconvenience and a potential danger. But they ended up being a large inconvenience and two-shotting me like 5 times in fucking row on the first day and never been back that still pisses me off.
Yo.
I just go in there and instantly die nonstop because I don't have a one-click teleport with me.
Oh, I feel you. You got to run back and grab your shit, and then you forget your rake, and then you can't figure out how the fuck to get out of there, and you forgot your teleports, and then you got to die again, and
yeah,
you get trapped by the fucking deranged archaeologist, and then he kills you a few times.
Yeah, like it I don't know if you can still lure it to the one Sulicet patch, but people were doing that, and shit, it was a huge inconvenience. I can't stress it enough. But they'd like to change that, obviously. Yeah, so yeah, they kind of realized hoop snakes didn't really do too much, but anyways, yeah. So they want to reduce the damage inflicted by the tar monster.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd like to make it so the tar monsters can be stunned after they've appeared. And currently this can only be done within their bubble form.
Oh, okay.
So once you trigger it, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah,
but finally they wish to severely reduce the damage of the AoE attack. And it's just to kind of get teamwork, right?
Yeah.
And whatnot. So
you could have some guy tanking the hits for you, and they're not going to die instantly.
Yeah. With the deranged archaeologist, the whole point of it being where it was to kind of promote injecting the mushroom and move to a new spot. But since you move past the archaeologist to do this anyways, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
And the people that were killing him were kind of annoyed within the space, so they want to move him away, a little bit away from the area.
Good.
Yeah, move him a little bit further south, get him out of there. Yeah. With hardwood farming, and they didn't post poll questions for these, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Just gonna happen.
But yeah, hardwood farming and the seaweed farming. They're happy with hardwood farming. They're a little inconsistent with their growth timer, or with their growth timer. I don't know, the way they grow, I guess, because their farming timer. But they are rewriting the whole farming timer system, so it'll make it more consistent. But I think because the hardwoods they took so long to grow that the farming timer inconsistency affected it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're gonna make it more consistent. It's in testing right now. There's not an exact date. I'm assuming it's gonna come out before mobile. And because there's so much, right? Every single farming patch they have to test it and debug it, and it's all spaghetti code, they say. So it'll be it won't happen next week or anything. Like, you gotta give it some time. But yeah, hopefully it'll be out by the end of this year. And they're happy. Seaweed farming is a good amount of people farming it. They aren't really using it as a substitute for regular seaweed to make the lunar spell glass make. And it seems because the experience given, it only assumes 2 pieces of soda ash are used, and it's 6, actually. They forgot to change that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They don't want to change it now, though, because of King of the Skill.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so they're going to do that after this month. So, yeah. With the Wyverns, they have generally less favorable drops, so the Ancient Wyverns having a higher Slayer level requirement than their less fleshy counterparts. Yeah. I don't know why they say that. It's weird saying that out loud, but they're going to be nerfing the defensive stats, the Wyverns, making them less of a hassle to kill, and they should do that because I got a Fossil Wyvern task on the Grotesque Guardian update.
Yep.
Because I was trying to get the Gargoyle, and I ended up getting that task cycling through them. I was like, oh, I'll go kill them. And dude, you get if you go to the hardest Wyverns, for me, I was getting 3 kills a trip.
Oh yeah, the hardest ones, because there's only 2 of them that spawn, and I don't even touch those guys anymore because same problem.
Fuck that. They their stats. I brought my Dragon Warhammer at one point to make it a little easier. That's how much their defensive stats were.
Yeah, they're strong.
So sad. It's come on, a max melee stats. These things are fucking me up. Yeah. And I ended up just going to the shittier ones, and that was a lot easier. So they're gonna nerf them. Thank God. Because, I do like I think the wyverns are really cool, and I would like to actually do the task without like crying.
Yeah, well, there's like 4 different types of wyverns in there.
But high risk, high reward.
Oh, fair enough. High risk, high reward. Can't forget that. But I always go for either the weakest ones or the second weakest ones, and like, sure, the drops aren't as good as the fossil wyverns, but I find myself being able to blast through them easier, and the drops are more fair. Like, they're fair. They're not the greatest, but they're not the worst. I had no complaints on them.
Yeah, I just ended up killing them, but I'd like to kill the highest ones, just, better drops and better experience, or I guess better experience drops.
Yeah, it's more fun too.
Yeah, they were more fun, but they were like ridiculously tanky to the point where I'd spec them and get 2 Dragon Warhammer hits and still like struggle.
You'd spend more time running to the bank and back than killing them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so nerfed, but or I guess buffed, depends how you look at it. And then with Volcanic Ash, they've seen a lot of suggestions about being able to buy Volcanic Ash from the Mines Reward Shop, the Volcanic Mine Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're down to add that. So the poll question would be, should the Volcanic Mine Shop sell the ash for the cost of 160 points per item?
Yep. And for a little refresher, Volcanic Mines is the Wintertodt for mining, but there's no uniques, which I'm waiting for those uniques to come out.
Yeah. And for the future, they'd address the final hot topic they've seen. And it's, why should I bother gaining more kudos and fossils after I've unlocked the mine? And the answer is just experience lamps, right?
Yeah, that's
what
they
just do for the
now.
experience lamps. So they want to add a demi boss that would allow you to use spare fossils you've acquired. In the bottom floor of the museum where it's not filled in, and you could fight a little dude there. It would work like Skatizo. I don't know if I just said that, but if you go to the museum, there is like an empty spot, and they'd like to, in the Varrock Museum, they'd like to make a little Skatizo-esque demi-boss. You could go there and
go duel Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Get some rocks, rolling at you. Maybe he's got a special whip.
Yeah, throws his hat.
Yeah. They'd like to hear some more suggestions, and they're gonna like pump. It sounds like they're gonna pump this poll. That sounded really weird. They're gonna push out this poll. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me today. They're gonna like release this poll on December because of King of the Skill.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming all of them will just wait till like the 1st of December or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's it for the updates pretty much. I do like how they realize not King of the Skill. Jesus, the Fossil Island is a little trash tier.
Yeah, it kind of died pretty fast, but they're trying to revive it.
I mean, I do think it's got like a lot of really cool things, but the execution was like a little weird. Like, I understand like they have good intention with the agility thieving and the hunter fishing. Yeah, I kind of want to know like why they kind of did it like this. I mean, I like it, right? I think it's kind of cool, but I wonder how the idea came up to like have mid-tier content that gets 2 skills done at once type of a thing. Does that make sense? Yeah,
and I think we talked about it a little bit. Like, we speculated when they first came out with it, or they came out with the devblog maybe, but yeah, I always thought it was something to keep it for mid-tier people, but also for when the mobile update comes out and a lot of new people are coming out. And I just want to make this distinction real quickly. When I say mid-tier, I'm not talking about like level 70 plus, because a lot of people, they will talk about mid-levels, and they tend to stick towards level 70s as being a mid-level account.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm kind of considering level 50s being like literally in the middle. That's what I mean when I'm talking about mid-level accounts. So like people who are,
yeah, you're talking about like level-wise, not experience-wise.
Yeah, or like grind-wise, because I see a lot that people would consider a level 100 being a mid-level, And I'm kind of sit there and I go like, I mean, I can see the argument, but if we're throwing all the levels of, like, all the people who play RuneScape on a tier list, I would put that on the higher end.
Yeah, in terms of, like, mid-level literally being, like, halfway to 99, not 92, because that's half the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to specify that.
Yeah, so I felt like this, like, update in general was meant for, like, the mid-levels, or for that, you know, because normally you would get to it wouldn't change much from being a low level to a high level. You're just cutting different trees.
Yeah.
Sort of deal and stuff like that, or you're pickpocketing different monsters, or not monsters, but NPCs and stuff like that. And I think they're really thinking about when these new players are coming in from mobile, that they want to give them different options so they don't have to just sit there and spam click.
Yeah.
Because that could make somebody get kind of bored of the game and be like, yeah, I guess I'll just put this down for now. But if they have, like, okay, I can do this for faster experience, but let me go try out Fossil Island for a few levels. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I felt like it was all geared towards, and they're kind of updating it now because they don't want people to, like, you know, look up, how do I level up my thieving? And it just sticks to the old ways of doing it. They want to see guides being like, or you can go check this one out for another way of leveling up your...
Like, if I talk negatively about Fossil Island, a lot of it's because it's, like, not worth it for me because I'm, like, a higher level.
Yeah.
If I was, like, a new player, though, I definitely would have gone to Fossil Island. Like, I still did some of the stuff on day one and whatnot just to be like, oh, let's try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And minus the tar monster and stuff, like, I did think it was pretty cool. And I kind of wish, like, I was, like, I had, like, a newer account or something, just to be able to experience, like, the transition.
Yeah.
To Fossil Island. Like, a lot of it is dead content for me specifically, just because, like, I don't need to do any of that stuff. Happy with where I'm at. But, yeah, I mean, I think everyone should give it a try.
Yeah,
like,
and also,
the content.
Something to keep in mind as well is, like, getting to, like, level 50 stats isn't that big of a grind for us, because we've done it before, and many people who have gotten that, they're like, level 50, that's easy to get. But if we think back to our first time playing that account, getting level 50s was a bitch, because, like, you just you weren't familiar with the grind. And it's similar to, like, you know, getting your first 99 feels like the biggest stretch. You know, I got my 99 strength, and I'm leveling up my defense and my attack. My attack's like 93 and my defense is 87, and it feels like nothing. Like, I look back, I'm like, man, I'm leveling these so fast. But I remember getting my strength up those levels and being like, holy shit, this is taking forever.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I really noticed was strength. It felt like, you know, I was doing NMZ too. I did NMZ for strength.
Yeah,
and I like was like, oh my god, 5 hours and I'll level? Are you kidding me? It's so stupid. And now it's like, dude, only 5 hours till I'm level. That's nice.
Yeah, it's gravy.
So yeah, it's kind of like a perspective thing, right? Like, yeah, back in the day when I was a kid, getting like 40 attack was a huge achievement. Oh, nice! I can rune scimitar now.
Oh yeah,
decent. But
and, yeah, new players coming in, they're gonna feel like getting 50 is a fucking hard task to do the first time.
Yeah, and if they want like 70 thieving or hunter and they're like, oh, just go click on this thing now. It's like, no, they can change it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so pretty cool. I'm glad they're revisiting it. They're not letting it just die and rot, similar to Last Man Standing, rest in peace.
Yeah.
May you never be forgotten, because I really enjoyed that minigame, and I still think about it sometimes, and I'm like, how have you not come out with a fucking not mini games, but some cosmetics or something, a minigame shop for that? The only thing you can do in that is gamble your money, and there's no one there fucking to participate in it. You know what I mean? Give it a hat.
Like, when I think back at Last Man Standing, I legit think it was a way to just change, like, they wanted to take up the dueling arena with Last Man Standing. You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah, but
in terms of, like, it was a way, like, when they had the high risk Last Man Standing stuff where, like, you're putting in a mill or something, right? I think you're putting in a mill to enter.
Yeah, it was 1 mil.
and you could walk out with a bunch, right? They kind of it's like a Dueling Arena 2.0, but the Dueling Arena is like faster money.
Oh yeah, it's actual gambling. People don't want to have to work for their money when it comes to staking.
Yeah,
they want
it's
it to be basically a 50-50.
Yeah, but like on the high stakes one, when they did that weekend, Bodhi made so much money.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. That takes actual skill, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just don't like that. They don't like losing. I mean, I don't like losing. That's why I don't do it.
But that being said, the minigame, I think the minigame itself is still a fun minigame.
I think it's pretty cool. The idea of it's pretty cool. I don't know if it's just, maybe it's just not for me. I think if they they kind of pivoted and instead of a thing to make money or to put like a money sink in, they should just change it to like a Castle Wars-esque with tickets where you could buy cool gear, like you were saying, maybe a pet. Don't know what kind of pet you would do, but yeah. They should just kind of change that, but
it's just funny how they it's just forgotten. Yeah, and you can't play a game because you need 25 people in it, and no one's doing it because even just going there's no one there. So you know what I mean? It's just like it's a vicious cycle where someone wants to go check it out, but there's no one else there, so you can't really gather a group. There's been a few times where I went there and there was like 3 people, and then okay, everyone spam your clan chat, ask your friends list, see if anyone else wants to play, and then you could get a game going. And I'd play 4 or 5 games. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun, and I'm kind of had enough for now. But like at the same time, I felt pressure to play more because you're like, this is the only one you're ever going to be able to play.
Now or never.
Get a lifetime's worth in.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, there's your little. Just want to bring that up because it's they're not doing that with Fossil Island, so that's good. Anyways, that being said, I saw a few things going on in the community that we could, I guess, touch on. So, first things first, I saw that there's a RuneScape streamer named Wooks who, we've talked about him before, but he's done a lot of intense feats in the game. First one to get the Inferno Cape.
One dead man mode?
What?
He won a dead man mode seasonal?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dead man mode. Yeah, that's, kind of won it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
In our hearts.
Weird. Yeah. But, he was able to complete the Inferno again on a pure, which was like level 73 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy to see. I know it took him a bunch of tries, and he ended up going from like level 67 to like somewhere in the mid 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
A lot of accidental defense levels.
No, really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Imagine. God damn it, 8 defense. Gotta redo this account and then get the Inferno Cape.
That was
Sorry, go on.
So, congrats to him there.
Yeah. He's the first peer to do it, I believe.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to mention it.
Does he PK at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
I really want to see him PK now. I want to see how he would do.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry, go on.
There was a Redditor who was every day was posting these beaver facts until his plan was to keep doing it every day until he gets a beaver pet.
Yeah, the woodcutting pet.
Yeah, so he had finally got it, and a lot of people are happy for him and stuff like that. And I had seen, the reason I'm mentioning this though is that I had seen a Jagex mod had said that they're thought about maybe putting something in the woodcutting guild as like kind of like a reference to him or something like that. It was like an NPC maybe that would be kind of woodcutting redwoods, and every now and then he would randomly say a beaver fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting, but I also saw like a lot of people shitting on that, being like, why the fuck are we like doing this for a Redditor? This is going to promote more people to just spam on the subreddit some stupid meme.
Yeah, because it went on for about a month.
Yeah, 41 days.
Oh shit, over a month. Damn. It started out as like a meme. Well, it was the whole thing was a meme, but you saw like a lot of copycats with it, and you see a lot of people trying to like replicate it. And yeah, people were kind of getting upset about that. They don't. I mean, I do kind of like the idea of it, but I don't really care at the same time because it's just a meme, right?
Yeah, like I thought it was harmless. Like if you add, it'd be kind of cool to be woodcutting and see someone like saying some beaver facts or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see any problems there. It's not like it would have his RuneScape name as the NPC's name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would probably just be some random lumberjack. But I saw a lot of people saying like, why are we doing this? We should be giving Wooks, because he got his pure, got the Inferno cape. We should be giving him something. And then I just saw it getting controversial about, okay, I guess we have to start giving these little in-game Easter eggs to all these, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, meme artists. I don't know what you'd want to call them, but
I mean, congrats to him for getting it, but also he got a pet.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people get pets all the time. It's stupid. He just made a big fluff about it. I mean, he, just kind of having some fun with it, I guess. But I mean, I do think if anyone gets to like have a statue or whatever, it should be Wooks.
Yeah, but the only thing is, people are saying like that motherfucker has like, he's got an IRL Inferno cape, and he's gotten to RuneFest before. He got paid for his trip there.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of things like that. So it's just like,
yeah, where do we stop?
Yeah, but
yeah,
just thought it was funny. There's a little bit of a, little controversy going on there.
Yeah.
Of course, naturally. And lastly, this is basically not RuneScape related, but sort of. It's RuneScape influenced, and I'm sure you know where this is going. World of Warcraft is finally getting their own old school servers.
Yep.
They're bringing back year one of World of Warcraft, and a lot of people have said like, RuneScape or Jagex could be a big influencer on that, because
they're like pioneering the concept of legacy servers, or they pioneered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we talked about it before, where the World of Warcraft, during a Q&A or something like that, someone had asked about bringing in, old school World of Warcraft servers, and this pissed off a lot of people, because one of the developers said, you think you want this, but you don't want this. And a lot of people, it kind of turned into a meme in itself, but a lot of people were pretty pissed about that. It seemed kind of showed how disconnected some of their developers were.
Yeah.
And then you could, I think we even talked about it, but you could just point at RuneScape. And I know they're different games, but you could point at RuneScape and being like, look, here's a prime example of it working well.
Yeah.
RuneScape's bigger than ever, and Old School is directly a cause of that, in my opinion.
It was pretty funny. I was out doing some shit, and I came home to like 30 Discord messages. And usually when I like see Discord message, it's like my friends pinging me and then saying the stupidest shit. I don't fucking know why, just to get my attention. I mean,
sure.
And I had like 30 messages, and it's all like, BlizzCon, did you watch BlizzCon? Did you watch BlizzCon? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, what went on? And then they sent me this like 13-minute video, and it's the dude who says like, you think you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
And he was up on stage, and he like announces vanilla servers. Yeah, I don't know, all my friends are like freaking out, and they're like, oh shit, what classes, what race, which, how we doing this? And it's kind of weird. So like I went on like the WoW forum, and the WoW subreddit, and on the WoW forums, and the way everybody was like talking about it, like I saw some discussion being like, okay, how do we want to go, like how are they going to go about like these vanilla servers? Is it going to be they just release, okay, this is the patch number and that's it? Like forever? Or are they going to like update it and then bring it to Burning Crusade, and then Wrath of the Lich King, then Cataclysm, then Mop Wad Legion, and then re-roll? Like how are they going to do this? Because
are they going to have their own developer team that only works on the vanilla servers? Kind of similar
and
to
so
how Old School
a lot of
RuneScape
people were saying they should have it do progression up until Wrath of the Lich King and then just reset. And and then I saw other people saying like they should just keep it vanilla patch 1.12, which is like the most popular patch, is like the patch with battlegrounds and stuff like that. I believe. I might be wrong, sorry, but I know it was battlegrounds in that update. And but it's super weird because like when Old School came out, like, it was really, really popular, but then it hit like a huge lull. Like, it like almost died, and then the mods came in and like revamped and kind of got the game. Like, they kind of put some like life into it again. And now look at it, it's like bigger than ever.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. If you just had Old School from 2007 and kind of left it at that, then that's where nostalgia dies. Because that's what, nostalgia isn't going to, it's not going to live.
Yeah.
People aren't going to live off that in the game. And what keeps it growing, yeah, exactly, is all this unique content that we're seeing. But it's still in the Old School feel.
Yeah. So it's super weird to think that. And I I talked about it like, hey, I play a lot of Old School. And this is kind of what happened with us, where like it was Old School, and then it kind of got tiring in the sense of like people were like, kind of irrelevant, but not really. They were splashing a 9/9 magic and then AFKing, for 6 hours straight, training all their melee stats up, and people hit their goals they wanted, and then they kind of got bored because they had kind of done everything. And it's a little bit different, but I was trying to like get people's opinions on like, how do you feel of like a legacy team that would like bring vanilla into a separate direction? Like no fly mounts, no burning crusade, feel. Like literally take it into like a whole separate thing. Like because that's what's happened with RuneScape, right?
Yep.
Like Old School and RS3, there's obviously consistencies between them, but like the direction like Old School's gone is like pretty cool, I guess. Like,
yeah, it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, it just kind of makes me wonder what will happen with vanilla. And I know it's a very different game, and, like, there's actual end game content. It's not, like, do everything whenever you want, like in RuneScape.
They say, yeah, that the game of World of Warcraft is the end game.
Yeah, but it also, for, like, the average player, takes, like, 2 to 3 months. Like, not like a hardcore, like a guy who just logs on, reads the quests, and just kind of plays and has fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in between.
It'll take a couple months to like max out, and then it takes a really long time to do raids. Like raiding's pretty difficult, but I don't know. It's super weird because like with like Old School, like nostalgia literally brought you up until you wanted to level past the account you had when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like my account is infinitely better than it was when I was a kid. I could not imagine having a stat over 70.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like. I would spend, like, if I was a little kid, I would spend so much money for my account right now, it would be ridiculous. But, it's not saying my account's amazing, it's just that's how much of a noob I was when I was a kid. And, like, I know this isn't, like, we're kind of just talking about WoW, but, because I was looking into it, because, like, I really want to know how they're gonna do it. With vanilla WoW private servers, some of the private servers, like, on a website released, like, a consensus, or a census, So it's like which percentage are playing which classes and races.
Yep.
And it was like 60% of everybody played Rogue on these servers, or on the ones I was looking at, which is like by far the most overpowered class in vanilla, like by far.
Mm-hmm.
And
Burning Crusade, you could one-shot people with no armor on.
Yeah, vanilla you can just fucking one-shot people. Like the best PvP and PvE class. But and then inside that, like, really specific classes were being picked on which faction, and you know what I mean? Like, it's, in private servers, it's already optimized on what you're gonna play, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they kind of might be forced to, like, take it in the direction of Old School. It's kind of where I'm bringing it back. And I really want to see what, like, a big company, because RuneScape's, like, I refer to them as, like, an indie company, like, they're a really small company. Like our dev team, like we know them by name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Old School specifically, because RS3 is a lot bigger.
Yeah, RS3 is very different, but like Blizzard is so big. So if they get forced to take the Old School approach, I wonder how they'll do it with such a big team.
Yeah, we gotta think of all their games and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Hearthstone. Heroes of the Storm.
They did Legacy with StarCraft, right? They brought in the remastered version.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. A little bit of a different monster, but yeah, no, I feel you.
But people are very unhappy with that. So, there's a lot of issues with the remastered in terms of, connection issues. I heard they tried fixing it, but they changed some settings which made inconsistencies between computers. Like your mouse sensitivity in game would be different for reasons no one could figure out why. Like stupid. It's really irrelevant, but just the whole concept of like a legacy remake of like a game that
you can't just throw something that everyone used to love and just leave it at that. You got to actually be working on it as well.
Yeah,
bring it up to snuff.
Yeah, it's good to bring it up though because it's nice to keep an eye out because like. I mean, it's nice to know that, like, RuneScape pioneered the concept of legacy and, like, the whole idea. Like, it's really neat how MMOs in general, it started off as, like, you look at classic RuneScape and how bare bones and tedious and hard everything was.
Yeah.
There was a rest system. You'd have to bring a sleeping bag with you.
Yeah.
And, like, you
couldn't note your items. You had to bring it to this NPC who would give you certificates.
Yeah. And, like, you know, slowly over time, they add more and more convenience and people are, like, happy with it. And then it gets to a point where it's too much and everybody kind of wants to restart.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's really weird.
At some point, it just stops being the game that you know.
Yeah.
It's because you're always catering to this or that. With World of Warcraft, you were able to just queue into raids instead of having to find a party. It'd be like with RuneScape, you want to do bandos. So you just go into some boss finder that's in the clan chat, let's say, and then it pairs you up with a team that is already wanting to kill bandos, and then it teleports you to bandos.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to find a partner to do it with, and it just became way too easy. Next thing you know, the player interaction just died out.
Yep. You buy, you know, level 100, you grind 10 levels, you raid like that day. You can literally raid on a fresh character in one day. And I know because I've done it. So I'm not just talking to my ass. I've literally done it. Kind of ashamed, but you gotta do what you gotta do when your school's on strike for a fucking month. God damn it.
So I was going to play this earlier when we first brought it up, but I do have the interview that they first gave, which is it was kind of funny because it just showed how out of touch some of the developers were when they originally made the statement. But yeah, here's the interview of them giving the whole, you think you do, but you don't.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't. Remember when you had to like spam cities and say, need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon. You don't want to do that. Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago? Still there in the past.
So yeah, there's the little interview, or a little Q&A thing, which just even listening to it, you're just like, what? You know what I mean? Like, are you fucked?
It's funny because like that's what people liked about the game.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll mention this and before we move on, but they did say, I read an article that Blizzard, they'll be fixing bugs and exploits, and they'll be amping up the infrastructure for like servers and stuff like that.
True.
So issues like mobs not spawning for 2 weeks, like a certain mob spot, like you kill like one guy and he just never respawns.
Yeah, he's gone forever.
Yeah, they're going to be fixing like little things like that, but yeah.
Cool. Interesting. But yeah, anyways, that's basically all that I had seen. You know, I was in Montreal, so I hope I didn't miss anything, but yeah, pretty that's all the goings on in the community this week. And with that being said, I think it's time to move on to our old school lore in a nutshell. Is that what we're calling it? Old school lore in a minute?
Yeah.
Old school lore quickfire? A blast of old school lore? Okay, I'll just play
Blast of the past?
Ooh, that's pretty good. Blast of the past. Alright, so last week we talked about Guthix and his arrival onto Gielinor. Or I should say his creation of Gielinor and RuneScape in itself. This week we're going to be talking about Saradomin. Saradomin is one of the 3 major gods, Guthix being alongside, and he is known as the god of order and wisdom, and also people call him the god of good as well. And he is usually thought of as being the opposite of Zamorak. There is little known about the origins of Saradomin himself. He arrived during the Second Age while Guthix was asleep, and he also claims to have been the one that had created Gielinor and RuneScape himself, even though lots of evidence contradicts it and does suggest that Guthix was the original creator. Saradomin is one of the most popular gods in RuneScape and has by far the most followers and churches in the game. In his symbol, you'll probably recognize it as being a 4-pointed star. It's usually yellow or white or blue. And yeah, so Saradomin arrived during the Second Age, like I had mentioned, with many of the other gods. Most had arrived in the Second Age. It's a bit controversial on who is actually more powerful between Saradomin and Armadyl. They're kind of both on the same spectrum on the scale between good and evil, even though it's not as black and white as that. As Armadyl is also the god of law, or the god of justice. When Saradomin first arrived during the Second Age, he arrived on the island of Inferno, which explains why that island consists of mostly monks that worship the same god. And after arriving during the Second Age, Hollow Vale, which is created in eastern Montreal, became the biggest and first Saradomis kingdom on RuneScape. It eventually fell in the Third Age and is now known as Mire Ditch, the city of the Vire Watch, which you might recognize from the quest Darkness of Hollow Vale. And it is said in the Old Letters to the Gods that Saradomin fears the name and the god Zeros himself. But with all that being said, Saradomin and his followers aren't always as good-hearted as they would like you to think. As I was saying, it's not as black and white. Just because he is the god of order does not necessarily mean he is a benevolent god. So we're going to get into more of that in the following episodes and in the future as we get into, some of the events that have taken place in RuneScape, and you'll start seeing some of the arguments on, Saradomin and whether or not you can consider him a good god or not. And yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it this week.
Yeah, I never realized how big of a role, or I guess how much lore is like implemented into the creation, I guess. Like how much the gods have actually done stuff.
Yeah, it gets confusing because they're not like your typical gods, as you would like in real life or in other games as well. They're actual beings, but yeah, it gets kind of tricky scouring through all the information because a lot of it does. The god, most of the lore is in RuneScape 3, right? Mm-hmm. Which is set in a different age. It's in the 6th age, while Old School RuneScape is in the 5th age. So there is a lot that I'm not going into when it comes to RuneScape 3, but that's where it gets kind of tricky because they're different games, right? Yeah, so I kind of scour through the internet, and it gets kind of tricky because not a lot of people are into the lore in Old School RuneScape, so it's kind of hard to figure out all the information and stuff like that. Yeah, but as each week goes on and we kind of cover more, I think it's all going to start coming together. It might seem like a lot of these are in kind of point form notes, these like the origins of the gods and stuff like that. But as we get into like the god wars and the ages and the different cities and stuff like that, you'll start getting more of a grasp on the gods and like the actual going on in RuneScape and some of the history and stuff like that. Because there is a lot to it, and it's actually pretty interesting. But I'm just trying to fragment it and give you it like in sections so it makes sense, and then it kind of builds upon itself as each episode goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's it for this week. For your blast of the past, your quick fire to lore, Old School RuneScape in a nutshell. We'll figure out a name at one point. And yeah, okay, and if you guys want to get in touch with us or whatever, send us questions, write us emails, tell us stories, give us feedback, whatever it is. There's a few ways I'm going to tell you guys how you guys can get in contact with us. We have a Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Wilderness Podcast. Our Twitter is @TheWildernessRS. Email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Our in-game clan chat is WildCC. And we have a Discord as well, which we can get you guys a link if it's something you're interested in. And you can also leave us a comment on any of our videos on YouTube. But with that being said, we got an email, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I wanted to bring it up last week, but the episode kind of ran a little long, even though this one's kind of running on a bit long as well. But so I left it out, and I thought I would save it for this episode. All right, so I got an email from Adam, who's from Sweden. And he asks, "Hey dudes, could you have an episode about different types of pures and combat brackets?" So thanks for writing in. So I figured we'd talk about pures maybe briefly. We'd talk about what we know about them, our thoughts and stuff like that, the different types of pures that we're aware of, maybe how things have changed that we have seen. But I also want to keep in mind that when I get settled into the new house and stuff like that, get my little recording studio set up, I plan on having actual guests on, like little interviews and shit like that. And and the pure community is something I want to talk about as well. I want to get somebody who's like really big into the pures and can really touch on his experiences and stuff like that. Because way back, like a year ago, I was talking about making like an in-depth pure guide and stuff like that, like all the weapons you could use that are available, all the different types of pures. And as I was doing that, I started realizing how much there is to it that I was unaware of. Like, I know the basics, and I'm sure you do too. Also, it felt like the pure meta was changing constantly as updates were coming out. And I just felt like it was just really hard to keep on top of it, especially when I'm not PKing on a pure all the time. I have one, but I don't go on it like every night and stuff. And Deegan, you have one as well, right?
Yeah, I have like 2, kind of, 1.5.
So we're familiar with them, but it's nothing where we're like, we know the meta, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. We know like every little tip and trick when it comes to pures and stuff like that. But they've been around for a long time, so you know what I mean? We've kind of just got some experience from the sidelines as well. So yeah, pures. Pures are basically a low-level PKing account. It's an account you make that it's purely meant for PKing for the most part. Mainly because you keep your defense low while you raise your other stats, getting them high enough to, you know, combat other people. And currently, the way PKing is going right now, if you're trying to PK before level 100, it's all pures out there. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to stand a fighting chance on a main account unless you have a pure itself.
If you're like optimizing pures, I guess, it kind of starts like, how do I phrase? I guess in like the lowest level brackets, like you'll see optimizations in like the mid 30s to high 40s, I guess. So at like in the 30s, the low 30s and stuff, some people will, I guess you'll pretty much be fighting like a lot of Obby Mauler pures. And so that is where you get 60 strength. Ideally, you would get, I think, 55 magic and Slayer. And if you do it correctly and you keep your hit points low, like you'll be like pretty much like level 40-ish. I mean, I don't know the specifics of HP ranges that you'll hit in because like I don't have too much experience on like creating accounts, but yeah, 60 strength, like 55 magic is like the minimum that you need to be an Obby Mauler. And with those stats, you can get like about 20 strength levels without leveling. So sometimes you'll see people that will like Barbarian Fish and stuff like that to not get the HP levels. Cause like HP and defense are like the way leveling works. If I mean, most of you might be aware, but certain combat skills kind of they share, like a factor in your combat level. Am I saying that properly? So
yeah, they have more like influence on your combat level.
Yeah, so like attack and strength they're in like the same box, I guess, that will get up your combat level. Hit points and defense are in the same box. Range, magic, and prayer are all in separate. So like that's why people keep one hit point one defense.
Yeah.
is so they can like optimize getting attack and strength and range mage and stuff like that.
And it's also why you see like you'll have like your account set up and you can get, let's say you have one ranged and you have like, I'm just going to throw a random number out there, 80 magic and like 80 strength. You could raise your range level and you're not going to grow any combat levels from getting your range up.
Yeah. So yeah, because your account like it doesn't show you, but you'll be like a mage based account range or melee, just depending on what your stats are. And if it's like a mage based account or a melee based account, you can raise like the other two, whatever it is, up a couple levels. So, like range and mage more so than melee without getting combat levels, which is why you see a lot of pures with range as well, because it doesn't actually affect their combat level. But yeah, the like pures nowadays like to try and keep, well, some of them try to keep like a low hit point just to keep themselves in a lower combat bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you'll see like obby maulers and granite maulers at like really low levels, because you can pretty much one-shot people at the low tiers.
Yeah.
So yeah, like at the lowest you'll find like baby maulers, they usually call them. And then after that, like generally you'll see like once you start hitting like the 50s and stuff like that, that's what you'll find like everyone's a granite mauler pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Which is you'll use like a magic shortbow or like throwing darts or something ideally, and then you combo them with like the granite maul spec, because that shit's overpowered on pures.
Yeah, and I think it's just 50 attack and 50 strength for the granite maul, right?
Yeah. So you can get 50 strength, 50 attack, and then I see people that will do 70 range. Mm-hmm. Because the difference between, from my understanding, is the difference between 50 strength and 60 strength isn't really that much. And it raises your combat level like 1 level, I guess.
Okay.
But it's kind of like optimizing. Yeah, like there's so much like specifics with it, like certain prayer level ranges, like they'll get the second strength prayer, was it ultimate strength?
Yeah.
You'll find pures that like stop getting prayer at that. Some keep 1, some keep protect item.
Some get 52 for
yeah,
smite.
some get to 52. But yeah, so like generally in the lower brackets, like let's just say like from 30 to like 60, it's a big bracket, but you know what I mean? You'll pretty much just find obby maulers and granite maulers.
Yeah, there's a lot of like specifics to it for like, so yeah, for instance, you mentioned an obby mauler, you get your 60 strength, but you keep your attack at 1. Sometimes I see 5, but even you can, there's a bunch of like milestones you can hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the whole concept of pures. Sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, and the reason I believe you mentioned the 55 magic was to get the Slayer staff, because you don't require any attack for that. And it has decent bonuses in its like melee accuracies and stuff like that. So you can get that. And then there's also people who will go look at like the Topaz Machete or something like that.
Yep.
There's a bunch of different ones. Then there's also the Bone Dagger, because you can poison them suddenly.
Yeah, the special pretty much guarantees a poison.
Right. And then you'll see people with the RPG, which is this like fun weapon that came out a while ago, but it gives you the same attack speed as a magic shortbow, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't give you any stats, but suddenly you can punch or kick somebody pretty fast, and then you can whip out the obby maul to like KO them, right?
Yeah, it's a combo kind of.
Yep.
There's also like, if you look at like Graphist, who is like, he might be the top ranked bounty hunter. He was at one point, or like rank 2. And he like mainly plays an obby mauler. He's got like a maxed mauler account. He's a bit different though. He has 17 attack, I believe. I think. Or maybe he's got like prayer up. I don't know. He's got one thing that's a little bit different, but he's really good at his obby maul pure. So like if you want to watch him, he's like ideal to watch, like how to play an obby mauler. And you'll notice him have, like Dill's mentioned, like he'll have like a Slayer staff, an RPG, a bone dagger, a dark light,
right,
all in the inventory. Like you'll see them with like a lot of different weapons. And yeah, because the bone dagger to poison, the dark light because the spec can reduce defense, I believe. and it's pretty accurate. RPG, just because you can hit fast, all multi KO, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then Granite Maulers are like really cut and paste, I guess. You just use a magic short bow or like darts or something, and then you would combo with your Granite Maul.
Yeah, that's the ideal way, but you'll see the Granite Maul almost like tons of different places. You'll see a guy maybe with 60 attack with a D scimitar or something. And even like a Granite Maul, you know what I mean? Because it's such a fast attacking weapon, the special makes you hit instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So you can stack 3 hits if you blast through your special. So it's a very popular weapon to bring as well.
Yeah. And then after that, like the brackets are kind of funky, but around like, I think the lowest is like, maybe it might be wrong, but like around level 65, you can start bumping into Void Peers at this point. And that is like sitting with a Granite Maul and then like 70 range and stuff like that, 31 prayer.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't really sit in Edgeville too much. I don't know how common it is, but I do recall seeing like 67s and stuff, Void Peers. Mm-hmm. And those, they cap out at 42 defense. And, it's to do it so they can do pest control where full, like, range void. Like, you'll never see a void mage or melee at, like, low level pures, but.
It did get nerfed kind of in the recent months, but I'm sure it's still popular, and it was one of the most popular pure builds.
Yeah, at one point, that's pretty much all you bumped into.
Yeah, because when you had the ballista, you were able to that's a slow hitting weapon, but it hits so high. And there was a point where people didn't bring anything but that, because you could just keep hitting like 50, 60, and the person you couldn't out-eat it.
Yeah, at one point the combo was ballista into ballista spec.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It's been nerfed, but yeah, you'll see them a lot with like ballistas and Granite Mauls. They still use them. You can see them with magic short bows, obviously, and then you'll see like rune crossbow, rune darts. Yeah. And you'll with like a rune kite shield.
Okay. And there's also the obsidian rings.
Yeah.
They're very good, but they're very expensive to use.
Yeah. They're pretty neat though, because you can get pretty creative with just your setups and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can bring like a lot of different range weapons and spec weapons too. I mean, Granite Mauls are pretty popular, but yeah, you can like start bumping into them like in the 60s, but I don't know how common that is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because the way Void works, it's like a percentage based with accuracy and damage and whatnot, so it is more valuable the higher your range is. So it's good to mention. If you're planning on using a Void, or making one, sure, you can like get the minimum requirements for it and then start PKing, but it's not as effective until you're like maxed range at least.
Yeah, and if I'm correct here, I believe when you're in the 70s, that's when you start getting into the like almost maxed or pretty strong 1 defense accounts.
Yeah.
In the 70s and 80s, between the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's what you'll find, maxed pures and
the 1 defense pures, yeah.
Yeah, so once you start getting to like the 70s and 80s, you'll still find Granite Maulers, but you'll start finding some people that might actually use a dragon weapon once in a while. So they'll have 60 attack.
Yeah.
And like the higher you go up, you would end up getting like your AGS and stuff. Yeah. So some of them you'll find AGS pures where they will use a magic short bow and then they'll like 1-tick spec into Armadillo, the Armadillo spec. And like 1-ticking is pretty much like you would wait, you stand like, I believe it's 3 squares apart from somebody, and then you wait at like the right tick to equip and run an spec, and like you pretty much just instantly hit them with a spec, so it's like really, really strong like KO potential. You can like stack out like a spec or whatever.
Yeah, 2 hits will pop at once. Because you also got to keep in mind, you can see the experience drop before you see the hit splat. So on your end, you can kind of you can see when you're hitting decently high. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You see like a 200 hit, a 200 experience drop, and they're at half health. Like, you follow up with a spec immediately. Yeah,
and you'll see. Yeah, so you'll know you're hitting harder before your opponent knows he's getting hit hard.
Yeah. And that's what makes like the Granite Mall so good too, because you can kind of, all right, now I go in and spec, he's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Sack him out for like an 80 at low levels. It's ridiculous. But yeah, like once you start hitting like those high, like those 80s and the 90s and stuff, you start bumping into like max Zerkers, and I think a Zerker can max out at like 98 or 99, something like that, like very close to 100.
Okay.
And Zerkers, I think, are like, when I say the best PKing build, I mean in a totally objective way, as in you can PK with like so many different setups. So like a Zerker, pretty much, I'll just go back and say this: you cap out at 45 defense, and you do that for the fighter torso, and like you'll wear the fighter torso from Barbarian Assault, and then you get the Berserker helmet, which you get from the Fremnik Trials, that quest. And that's kind of why they're called Zerkers. And they kind of like, it's min-maxing strength bonus pretty much. But if you're doing a Void Pure or a Rune Pure, which we probably should have mentioned, but you would just sit at 40 defense. But it's the same thing as a Zerker, just kind of like less defense to my knowledge. But you don't train defense, you quest it.
Yeah, that's important.
So technically, if you do every single quest, I've said this a bunch of times, you'll get to 46 defense. But so what Zerkers do, and like Voiders and all that, they'll only quest for defense experience, so you can unlock like for Zerkers specifically, is you'll get Barrow Gloves, which is like huge. You really need those as a Zerker, and I mean you don't use them as a Void Pure, but you know, it's good to get that stuff out of the way. And you do need defense. Like you do have to do quests for defense experience as a Zerker. Obviously, if you need Fremnik Trials and RFD are the big ones.
Yeah, then there's Ancient Magics. That's not defense, but you get, and then there's Lunars.
Yeah.
We can get Vengeance, which is very important too.
Yeah. You really need Vengeance as a Zerker. And the cool thing about Zerkers, though, is that if you do it properly and you, like, get all the quests you can do, you can have, like, the reason why I say they're the best is because you can, like, PK with so many different setups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's ridiculous. You can max range, get 94 magic. On any pure, it's generally ideal to get 94 magic for Ice Barrage and Vengeance.
Yeah.
But, you'll be using Vengeance as a Zerker, so you just kind of stop at 94 and, 94 magic. But, yeah, you can, like, PK with, like, using a magic short bow, and you can go off into Gmauls or AGSs or DDSs. You can even use the anchor, the barrel chest anchor, because you're able to do that.
That you do need 50. Well, you need 50 prayer, but you might as well get it to 52 for smite.
Yeah, most Zerkers will have 52 prayer because you're a high combat, so like the higher combat you go, the more people are risking because, you know, they can use better gear. And so it becomes, it becomes more worth it to get smite for those 1v1s and whatnot.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, at a low level, you don't want, like, all the combat levels you're gonna get from prayer. I mean, as you get higher.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just not really worth it. But, yeah, there's like a lot of cool little weapons. I mean, yeah, like, generally if you're using melee, though, as a Zerker, you'd probably be doing, like, a Dragon Scimitar.
Yeah.
Unless you're planning on getting an AGS and you're getting 75 attack, you could use a whip up until 75 attack, and then you would obviously stop.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's like, you can use, like, any spec weapon pretty much. Like, you can use, like, yeah, there's so much variance to it. And you can also, like, deep wildy PK.
Yeah, exactly.
One person, like, for Zerkers, I'd recommend is, there's a YouTuber named Azerker. You'd never guess how he PKs, but then there's also someone named Amenity who PKs on a max Zerker as well. I don't know any people that are big for Gmauls or Voids. That's why I haven't mentioned them. But those people, like, if I watch like PKing content, I generally will gravitate towards them, just because it's like, I love watching Zerkers fight. They can do tribrids, like no honor tribrids deep in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like do so much content with them, and especially if you're gonna main a pure, you're best off doing a Zerker because you can still do Bandos and stuff as a Zerker, and you can still do Ziliana, like Sarah, in KBD, but you do kind of need someone to go in and be your tank.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still, you know, do a lot of content as a Zerker. And, you know, Fire Cape, easiest account to get a Fire Cape with, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to pures, there's so much to it. You can almost like it's like build a pure. You know what I mean? You can like pick and choose what you want for your account.
Yeah.
You know, you can stay at 1 defense, you can get it to 42, you can get it to 45. And it gets kind of weird. I don't really consider this a pure account, but a lot of people call these a piety pure, which is where you cap your defense at 70 and you get 70 prayer.
Yeah.
And that's what my account was for a while. I had 75 or 70 attack, and then I had 99 strength with 94 mage and stuff. And I think I was like level 105 or level 106 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where you get like a pretty decent PKN account. And and even there, you can choose to get your attack to 99. That's not really going to hurt it. You're still going to be on par with other accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, once you break off, like, certain combat levels, like, if you just stand in Edgeville at the ditch and just right-click levels, you'll see, like, there's like, a pretty strong meta with lower levels being Obby Maulers and then G Maulers, and as you go up, you start to see, like, more variety and whatnot. Like, there's so many. There's staff of, like, the Undead Pures, which get, like, 75 attack and stuff. Like, there's so many Pures, it's kind of hard to remember them all. There's things like Initiate.
Like, it changes so much.
Yeah, there are Initiate Pures, but nobody plays them anymore because the prayer bonus is useless, and if you're smite fighting, Zerkers are probably going to be the only ones and Voiders that are going to be okay with smite fighting.
Yeah, I used to see that back in the day a lot, which was somebody who capped their defense at 20. They wore Initiate, and then they could also wear Mystic. They'd get like 52 prayer. You know what I mean? Which is one of my favorite pure accounts, to be honest. They were so cool.
Yeah. I just like the black D'hide legs. The Initiate top. I always thought that was cool. Yeah. The chest piece. But
that's another thing, too. You do see people leveling up their range just to either 40 or 70 because the D'hide chaps give you a lot better defense bonuses, but they don't require any defense levels to wear them.
Yeah.
So you'll see things like that. And you mentioned about Staff of the Undead or Staff of the Dead Pures and stuff like that. Or the Toxics. And now with the Tomb of Fire, you could hit pretty fucking hard and stuff like that. You can get like you can just really rack with some of the magic spells. And I know I was PKing on I have a Barrow Chest Pure. He's like just actually not optimized at all. I get my ass kicked because he has 52 prayer and he's like level 55, which means I can't hit for shit because my strength is like 60 maybe.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I'm just not quite there yet. I got to level it up more myself. I want to do it. But a few times I would try to go PKing and I faced a guy with the Staff of the Undead. Toxic Staff of the Undead. And he was hitting like 30s pluses with his Fire Wave. Yeah. Because he had the Tomb of Fire or whatever it was. And then also you get Venomed. So then I ended up just not being able to out-eat his damage and he just fucked me up.
Yeah, so the big thing with the Staff of the Dead or the Toxic Staff of the Dead, I believe you need 75 attack to equip it. And 75 magic. So you'll see them with ideally it's 1 strength, but that shit takes so long, right? You're hitting, at best, you're getting 5 experience drops at a time.
Yeah.
But, the reason why people do Staff or Toxic Staff of the Dead is because the special attack of it reduces all melee incoming hits by 50%.
Right.
So where you see a lot of G-Maulers, like in the 60s and stuff like that, like a lot of those G-Maul rushers as well, like all those accounts, people will bring a Staff of the Dead because, like, honestly, they're so busted at that level because they're hitting, like, they hit like trucks, right? They hit like 30 pluses with their fire spells. And, oh, he's probably going to spec me soon. You just spec and then you're set for a while. Some people also will get the pool, the house pool that restores, like, spec prayer. I don't know if they changed it, but at one point they would spec, drink from it, then go to Edgeville. And if they get into a fight, like, instantly, they already have their spec up. Because it lasts for a minute, I believe. Yeah, it lasts for 1 minute. So.
Bit of a time crunch there, but yeah.
I mean, it prevents you from getting rushed and stuff, but.
True.
Yeah, what else is there? There's so many goddamn pures I, like, don't remember.
That's
but yeah,
the thing. There's so much to it.
Yeah, I just want to mention with the Piety pure you're talking about, you might know them as Darok pures as well.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. People
kind of call them both, and they're super awesome too, because, I mean, you unlock Piety, so obviously that's nice, but there's also a lot of, like, variants or variables like Zerkers, where you can use even more weapons, and plus, well, you can use the Darok set, which adds, like, people say it's kind of like the hardest 1v1 just Edgeville PKing type of playstyle if you're having a Darok set, because you have to know, like, the ranges in which your opponents can kill you.
Yeah.
And
it's a gamble, like, every time, because you want to keep your health low, because the lower your health is, the higher you're going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, high risk, high reward. Here we go.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, you can get fucked up really easily.
Especially if it's Darok versus Darok. Like, vengeance timings are super important. Obviously.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can stack them.
The guy for like a 70.
Yeah.
He's going to be hitting you for like a 40 or so. I don't even know. But yeah, sometimes it's bad to hit high when the person has vengeance.
Mm-hmm. With Zerkers and Darokers, you'll see them take off armor when they do vengeance.
Right.
Just so they can get hit harder and they can combo. And to counter that, sometimes, and I do this too against people with vengeance, is I'll just unequip my weapon and punch them. And just hope you hit a 1. And, like, I mean, honestly, every time I try that, I end up hitting like a 10 or something. I hit something stupid. I'm like, oh, fuck. I guess that's better than like a whip. But yeah. Any more accounts you can think of?
See, when you start getting into the Barrows pure, I kind of hesitant to even call it a pure. I like to just call it like a PKing main, or you know what I mean, account that's good at PKing, because you can do so much. It gets kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then when you're talking about just PKing accounts, you got things like range tanks that get like 99 defense and 99 range. You'll see them wearing some range gear with a Torag's helmet, maybe Torag's legs, rune kite shield. You know what I mean? They're kind of like getting their defense up as well, so they're not so squishy. The thing with pure is it's a pretty broad topic, I guess, because there's just so much to it. It's not so much like, this is what you want to do, da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of like, you have so many options, there's so many different paths you can take.
Yeah.
And if you take one path, this and more, you get more options there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you got things where it's like, rushing accounts. I've seen accounts where people keep their health really fucking low.
Yeah.
And they'll get their they'll get their magic up or their range up through using like alking or like
cannons or something.
Cannons and stuff like that.
Yeah. At like the lowest levels, it's really common to find darkbow rushers. Like, you'll find a target out at like 7 Wilderness on the hills, and you know that you're gonna get darkbow rushed by 2 people, because in the bounty worlds, if you and a friend have, like, let's say I have a target on, like, Jimmy, and me and you are darkbow rushing, we can time it so we can spec him at the same time.
Wow.
And so you'll find, like, out there, it's generally where you get skull tricked and rushed and shit like that, but yeah, you'll find people that will ice barrage, Gmaul spec you, or just darkbow spec you with a buddy and drop you.
Yes. Start getting into, like, different ways to make your accounts and stuff like that. Then you see ones that, like, I don't know if you see them so much anymore, but I remember back in the day, and this is the account I always wanted to make, you'd see somebody get, like, 83 magic or 85 magic, and then, like, nothing else, and they would go out there with Saradomin strikes. Then you can use charge. You can hit like 30s and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you could teleblock people, so people would go to like green dragons, and you could, start PKing shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a lot of neat little ways to make these accounts. I mean, if you're thinking about making any account, there's definitely guides out there, like on being really specifics of like, train here to this, do this quest in this order, like, yeah. I mean, it's always good to like look into it, and then even just try and find some PK videos. There are some like really good people. There's a guy named like Boris OSRS who's like if somebody wants to like, was like looking into the pure PKing type of stuff, I always recommend people go look at his stuff. He's got like some of the sweetest videos. The guy is like super amazing, and he shows how technical it is.
Yeah.
And he uses a lot of cool things like you'll see a lot of pures. We should have mentioned this before, but they'll use Kebbit crossbow.
Right.
And it doesn't hit super hard, but you can attack and then move at the same time. And like, you don't move, you kind of just teleport a couple squares. And so it kind of makes you really hard to hit, and it allows you to also do some really tricky Gmaul specs and throw them off. But yeah, Boris OSRS, he's got like some of like the coolest like low level pure PKing like videos, like little montages. They're like so good. He's disgusting. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like, it's kind of hard to go into every single weapon and stuff. Like
there's so much. Like I said, I was building a list of it, and like I just got overwhelmed, and I was like, holy fuck, I'm gonna spend like and then I was doing it, and then an update came out. I think it was Wintertot or some shit, but something where it's just like, oh my god, now you're seeing people PKing this way, and then you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it just became too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is, when I first wanted to learn how to PK, like, I'm not, like, amazing or that good or anything. I just kind of, like, I'm bad at PKing because I'm super, what's the word? Greedy, I guess? I don't know. Impulsive would be better. So if I PK, I want to, like, bait them. Like, I want to keep myself low and then bait them and try and, like, but I'll die quite a bit. Yeah. My issue is, like, in members and in high levels, like, I don't know when it's acceptable to eat, so I end up not eating and just dying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, against random people, because people will, like, call you a safer for eating at 30 health when they have an AGS. And it's like, well, so I don't know. But, like, at, like, low level,
hit 78 on me.
Yeah. At, like, low level PKing, like, I guess I'm okay at it a bit. I'm just a little bit too greedy. But what I did to learn, people say go on a private server, but don't, because they'll fucking steal your account info. Like they'll hope you log in with, I'll type in my login that I use for Old School and the same password, and they just fucking hack you like that. But
yeah, and also sometimes they're kind of laggy.
Yeah. But, like, what I recommend, because, like, the trickiest parts with PKing is learning how to stack and learning how to use PID to your advantage. And PID is pretty much, we've talked about it before, but just in case you haven't heard us or remember it, it's called, like, player identification, I believe. And it's a system that uses, like, if you're fighting someone and you guys both were to hit, like, a finishing blow at the same time, instead of getting a double KO, who should actually get it? Instead of it being based on ping, it's kind of a random number that's assigned. And so PID will pretty much be like, if we attack at the same time, I'll hit first. And you'll notice that with, like, if I shoot a magic short bow arrow, like, the number will appear just before or just as the arrow hits you. And then if you don't have PID, like, your arrow will hit them and then a number will show up. So it's kind of easy to know who has PID, but like, a lot of that stuff's kind of important if you're just learning to PK. And what I did was I made a free-to-play account, just like a throwaway account where I went to Imcatcher and, like, the Witch's Potion, and then I splashed to 25 magic just so I wouldn't get any health hit points up. And then I went and I got my range to 40, I believe. Whatever it is for the Maple Shortbow. I believe it's 40. and then I went and did Vampire Slayer for 20 attack, and then I went and grinded out 40 strength, or maybe I did 20 strength as well. Fuck, I should know this. I did 25 strength. I did 25 strength, but you can kind of get whatever. But, and I did that because you can find people, like, you'll be like a low level. You'll be like level 27. And, 40 range, like 20 attack, 25 strength. I put in 30, like, I think I had 30 hit points or around 30 hit points. But yeah, you'll be like low 20s or high 20s, low 30s. But from there, you can learn how to stack your magic short or your short bow hits into your two-hander. So you'd use a mithril two-hander.
Yeah.
And at that, you can combo people out for like 12, I think. 12 or 13. So you can technically KO people that are using lobsters and stuff like that. And when I made this account, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to find people, but I ended up finding some people too. And I PK'd like all the way up to 60 range and stuff like that. Like eventually you will have to balance out your stats because your range will get like way too high. But eventually what I did was I made my, let's say my range level, like eventually my range level hit 60. So I went and got 60 strength and then 40 attack. But like the formula I used was I would have, so like I'd have 20 attack and then eventually get 40 strength. And then I would go 30 attack and then 50 strength, then 40 attack and then 60 strength. And I did that because the other people you fight, like you would be using a mithril two-hander where a lot of people would be using Addy, and Addy versus a rune. So one, you're risking less, but which is nothing, right? You're risking like 10k per fight. Your food's the most valuable thing, but
yeah, exactly.
But you also hit the same. So if you have 30 attack and 30 strength, you're gonna hit the same thing as if you have 20 attack and 40 strength, but you'll be the same combat level too.
Right.
You know.
So yeah, that's important.
Yeah. I mean, you're less accurate. That's the biggest thing. But all that really does is give you more chance to practice stacking properly.
Yeah.
Stacking with pid and without pid is like very, I don't know. Like pid's very important when it comes to stacking. Because you can like, if you time it properly, you can have like two numbers appear at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. Like leveling up and just like PKing literally from 20 attack, 25 strength, 40 range, and like kind of balancing out as I went along to kind of keep in line with the max hit of people who I was against. And you'll kind of just know because, oh fuck, he can hit a 9 with his two-hander. Why am I only hitting a 6? I gotta get my strength up. But I made like 200k because you would find people that had like 40 attack and like 20 strength using a rune scimitar and a two-hander, and they'd skull up on you. And then you would just kill them and make some easy money. I made like about 200k just kind of dicking around. And it's fun too. Like I honestly, like I should make another account and do it. I've made like 2 or 3 at this point, and I just kind of dick around and kind of stop playing them after a day or two, or once it gets to the point where I have to balance with their stats and I'm too lazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that seems like a good account to learn on. Plus, like you said, it's cheap, so that's the most important thing. 'Cause you don't want to learn at like what I did. I was like going hard on my quote piety pure account, and every kill I was losing like 200 to 300k.
yeah, I mean, when I PK'd on my main, I would be risking like 500k, and it's super annoying dying because you're like, gee, like the worst is like, oh, I only had 1 pair of dragon boots and I only had one. I gotta go buy these now. Ugh.
Yeah.
But like with like a cheap account, you can just drop 100k on it, and like you have 10 PKing sets pretty much, and then you know whatever for food.
But yeah, I think that's
It's like a gist, I guess, a quick sum up of all the accounts we can think of.
yeah, especially from people who are outside of the PKing community or the pure community for the most part. Like we touch on it, we've seen it kind of evolve over the years, but we haven't, we don't have fucking Max Zerker's accounts. But like I said, plan on having interviews with different guests and stuff like that, and around the different parts of the community. So in the pure community is definitely one that we want to get in touch with. So yeah, stay tuned with that. Although, I'm trapped in this basement, so it might take me a few weeks. So I'll keep you guys posted. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's all.
All right, guys. Yeah, that should be it for this episode. And one thing I want to hear as well is, what do you guys think about these longer episodes? Because originally we were trying to keep them under 2 hours, and just the way the news kind of happens, sometimes the episode, like I had an episode that came out that was about 50 minutes, and I know some people were a little disappointed with the length of that one. So, but these are a little bit longer. These are 2 hours plus, sometimes even close to 3 hours or more than 3 hours. So let us know if it's a little long for you guys. Definitely want to hear feedback on the length of these episodes. It's kind of a tricky one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that being said, I think we'll cut it off here for this week. Well, thanks for listening, and
I should mention, if you're still listening for some reason, you're dumb. No. We do have a YouTube channel, and I mean, we just kind of upload the podcast episodes, but I think you have an episode, like a video. It's a little jokey video, but it's like your process of questing up your pure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I called it King of the Wild. Again, I got a little ambitious, and I think I had a week off where I worked on that, but my only issue is it's like a year old, and I still have recordings of what I wanted to do with that, and I was thinking of still throwing that together.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you do get to see like the process of making the account, and I mean, I've PK'd on that account, and I've had a lot of compliments of sick account, bro. And a lot of people do like a low-level barrel chest anchor.
Yeah, that video itself is more of me working my way towards getting the quests done.
Yeah.
And I think, so, maybe I should, when I have free time, maybe when I move into the new place, I'll continue working on that. The only problem is, like, I feel stupid releasing a second episode that was recorded a year ago.
Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah. Right.
The only people that care are the ones that watched it and then are waiting a year. You know what I mean? Let's see where this account is now. Oh.
You did 2 more quests in the course of a year.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else before we get out of here?
I can always try and think of something last minute, but no, I think that's it.
Thanks again for listening, guys. Until next week.
Yeah, have a good one.
Later, Gators.
Thank you.